I think. Hey everybody, T Ham 141 here, and it is a beautiful day out. I just woke up from a little nap, so my head's a little foggy. I have Patrick Costa here. Did I pronounce that last name right? Costa?
Cost would be cost.
Cost.
Yeah.
Okay. And I forgot to.
Cost would be cost. Yeah,
Yeah,
the echo. That
there we
sounds
go.
great.
Yeah. Okay. Now I know we have sound.
True.
I always do that. But Patrick and I have a lot in common. We are both off grid. Patrick, why don't you tell us where you're from and what being off grid means to you?
Hey, thank you, T. And well, I'm from Quebec, in the area of the Eastern Townships, very close to Vermont, New Hampshire, and all those states. If you geolocate and stuff, I live off grid, like you were saying. I live off grid solar. So for people who know a little bit about what it is to be off grid, it's one of the other. So that's my off gridness. We own a 23 acres of wood. There's no fields or anything, it's wood. And so we do a lot of that. And I work remotely, so that makes it easy. And in a nutshell, that's me.
Nice. Yeah, so you're not too awful far away. I'm in upstate New York. Yeah, being off grid it's something that different people have different perceptions of. I mean, everything from the guy in walking around in the woods in tan deer skins and living in a bush hut to us. Yeah. And it's one of those things that I really think it's important. Hey, you just pop out for me. Uh-oh. Sorry. We're back.
Off grid stuff.
Yeah, off grid stuff. We'll blame it on the air. It was a solar flare, I swear. But so you were telling me a little bit earlier that your house was built in the 90s.
Correct.
And the guy who owned it before, hi Ren, they didn't hook up electricity, and so tell me a little bit about your journey there, going from moving in a house that had nothing to bringing in your own electricity.
Yeah, the man who built the house built it in '98, and so from there, he installed propane lighting, propane, all bunch of stuff. The furnace was propane. I guess back then, propane was cheap and okay to use in some sense. And so we sort of, and we bought it a couple of years ago. And so we went from what he had with Japanese solar panels, all written in Japanese. Couldn't figure out what they were. Far from being okay, So we went on and figured that, okay, we were looking for a place like, acres and stuff. And then this house popped up. And I was like, well, it's kind of weird. The price was good, but nobody wanted it, It was a little bit in between the pre-COVID and the COVID thing, if we can say that word here. And so nobody wanted it because it wasn't updated. So I looked at it, and in 3 months, I became a whiz of YouTube solar thing, and I figured that I could do something with the place. Kay, my lady, people who were at the Homestead conference met her. We were like, okay, are we up for it or not? Because it was a fair chunk, and we wanted a house. So yeah, the day we bought it, and in fact, we bought it on the internet. So we found it on Kijiji, and the lawyer, we all did online because it was the pandemic stuff. So basically, we bought our house online. We saw online, and that's it. And at some point, we turn on the key. We just unlock the door, and beep. That's the sound we heard. Nothing
Oh,
was working. No lights, no nothing. So we're like, what kind of shack did we buy? And so that was our first day. And so we figured it out after a few hours. So we basically plugged the generator on and started jump the battery up.
mhm.
So that was our first day. And yeah.
Yeah. Those alarms, you can't ignore them.
No. And yeah, no, definitely not. And nothing else since we made the upgrade that happened. The batteries were smelling because they're older batteries, like acid deep cycle batteries.
Mhm.
So you can smell the vapors that comes out of there. So and I saw a bunch of green lights blinking. I was like, hey, is it is it broken? Is it good? Or I didn't know what to say. So I've
Yeah.
once again learned stuff, but it's nothing that we looked forward to. Like it's nothing that we were prepped for. Um, I thought I was prepped, but then prep for war and hope for the best, right?
Right. Absolutely.
How did you
Um,
end up being off grid?
um, well, we were kind of homesteading in the village of Port Leyden, and we had 2/3 of an acre, and had a little garden. We had chickens, and um, I guess we could have done pigs there, but it was just a real small and packed close. But so we just couldn't do what we wanted to do there. So we started looking, and we ended up finding this 20-acre wood lot. And Wendy and I and my brother Trevor cut about we cleared about 3 acres. Um, and then Trevor and I and Wendy helped with that too. We built the house. It's a 32 by 32 cabin. And while we did that in the summer, we would stay in our camper, and we had a 200-watt Renogy solar system. And I think it was 2 or 3 deep cycle 12-volt batteries hooked up to it. And that ran our camper. Then we had the generator also. And we had a little 3,000-watt generator from Harbor Freight that really worked good. Um, and so we built the house, and much to my brother's disdain, we moved right in. He wanted us to wait for, to finish it. He says, if you don't finish it, you'll never finish it. And I
Never
got to
finished.
admit,
Yeah, he's
I
right.
still have R19 wallpaper in the bedroom. um,
But he
but
always up to something.
yeah. Uh, and so then we got the opportunity to, a friend of mine had 250-watt panels for sale at 100 a piece, and we bought 4 of them and upgraded our system. Now I'm running off 7 Walmart deep cycle batteries, lead acid. Um, and I'm increasing that at some point. The next time I have to replace these batteries, I'm going to replace them with the Philo, I think they're called, the Philo 4 or something.
Yep.
They're lithium.
Lithium
Um,
iron phosphate.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I'll replace it with those. From what I understand, my friend Matt has got a camp, and his camp is all off grid, and he just replaced 3 of his 12-volt deep cycle batteries with 4 6-watt Philo batteries. And he said it's the difference between night and day.
Mhm.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Um,
The charge time too. Like it takes half of the time to charge your lithium iron phosphate batteries than lead acid.
yeah.
For sure. We're looking into buying new as well. That's the last piece of the puzzle because panels are fairly cheap. We can.
Right.
I don't know in the US, but it's here in Canada. It's about $1 for 1 watt. So
Yeah.
mine are like 310 watt, and I paid, I think, less than that, a bit less than that. So
Yeah.
so it's not that costs money. Well, it costs money, but it doesn't cost much money. It's when you think about hardware and
Yeah.
batteries, easy. You can raise your plan. Hello, kitty.
Yeah. The cat wants to say hi. This is Handsome.
Yeah.
Handsome meet Patrick. Patrick meet Handsome.
Hello,
um.
handsome.
Yeah. Um. We got them because we had a horrible mouse problem, and they the mice literally ate the wire harnesses in my truck. So it was cheaper to buy cats than
Then harness.
than
That's
harnesses.
crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, the technology, just since we started off with the 200-watt kit, um, the technology in batteries has just skyrocketed. I think Elon Musk is really, I think he's leading the way.
He
as
did.
as far as getting the technology boosted. I would love to get one of those batteries from one of his cars, even though they're heavy.
Yeah, the big panels, they make panels like home panels, like the battery as well.
Yeah,
Bunch of guys nowadays doing so. There's a company here called Eco Solaris, and they do mount walls and big batteries. Like 10 kilowatt sort of stuff.
yeah,
But those are pricey, very pricey. Like it's still way worth buying individual batteries.
yeah,
But for us, we're on 20 volts. That goes to 120. Sorry, 24 watt going to 120 volts.
yeah,
So, and I believe you're on 12 volts, right?
yeah. I'm on 12-volt. Yep.
And there's 48 volts that can lead to 110, 120 to 20 as well. So that's like our core. We don't even need that, to be honest with you. Like
Right.
we don't own a welder or plan on it. But we do have a generator that can run to 20. So if anything, we can always count on that. But it is
Yeah.
something people don't think about. But you need a generator when you move
Yes.
off grid. Even though if you have a killer solar panel, batteries, top notch, everything, you will need a generator somehow.
Well, especially being in the northern hemisphere, well, north of Pennsylvania anyway. In the winters, uh, there are days when we go sometimes a week or more without a sunny day, and it's nice. I've got a little. It is a Predator 2,000-watt generator, and then I have a Predator 9,000-watt generator. And the 2,000-watt is nice because I can fill that up with like a gallon and a quarter and start it up, put it on low idle, and just let it run. And I can do almost anything I want in the house. For laundry, when I tried to run the washing machine on the small generator, it would the water pump, you could hear it go and you could hear the generator doing that. So I figured that wasn't good for it. So I went ahead and started using the 9,000-watt, which is okay because you should run a generator every month or so, and every week, running the generator for an hour or two doing
Something.
wash. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my clothes dryer is solar. I just got a line outside. So
So you went solar on that too, eh?
Mhm.
Oh, like you touched something very, very important here. The water pump is one of the biggest appliances that takes the energy.
Yeah.
Um, Here, it's a regular pump, right? That should run on 220, but it's wired so it work on 110 or 120.
Mhm.
So and kid, there's the damn water pump. It's a big energy consumption.
Yeah.
100%. That's my lady K, and she understands that because it is. other than that, the eating stuff, whatever it's eating, like we don't have any what is it called, the stuff on the floor, the
Radiant heat or rate?
on the wall, the regular stuff, plaint, ether. Sorry, my English
No,
there.
that's fine.
The usual stuff you see on the wall with electric coils.
The radiators, like the hot water goes into them and heats them up.
No, that's the one, the electric one. They're
The
like
yeah,
I don't know what you call them. Sorry
yeah,
about that.
electric coils, I
Heater.
guess they would be. Yeah, electric heaters. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, those are killers. You cannot have those off grid.
Yeah. Anything that causes heat, other than the microwave, is actually pretty good, but most electric heaters, toasters, the coffee pot, they usually do baseboard heat. There you go.
Yeah. Red is a smart one,
Hi, Lynn. But anything like that uses a dead short to create heat. That's why, I mean, you can look in your toaster and you can see those elements heating up. That's just wires with a dead short. And that uses a lot of electricity. My water pump, I have a DC water pump that is made for solar, which I'm lucky. My well right now is like 16 feet deep. I believe it's to bedrock. My cousin drills wells, and he says, I don't know if you'd be to bedrock yet there, but maybe. And he said there's a lot of shale shells. So yeah, we're basically surface water at 16 feet, but this pump, it's designed to have a low. Most electric motors, when they turn on, there's a spike in their draw of electricity, and this is designed to start slowly, and then I use that on a controlled basis from the well, because the well goes dry periodically, and I pump into containers. Right now in the summer, I use 2 300-gallon water totes, and then in the winter I have 2 55-gallon barrels in the pantry that I fill, and I fill them with the well pump, and then everything is drawn from either the 300 gallon totes or the 55-gallon drums with a 12-volt water pump that keeps everything it tries to keep everything at 50 psi. And I'm wanting to put a bladder tank in between it and my filter system, so that it'll increase my pressure and keep my pressure steadier, because I don't have
should be less harsh on the start of the pump too.
Right. Yeah, the pump won't have to run all the time. It's just a matter of finding a tank, which size. I've looked at them, and I'm waiting. Now prices are up, and I'm like, I can go a little while longer, and but
yeah, I'm saying that with the batteries, but I think we're gonna have trouble with the batteries, having the batteries and stuff shortage.
Yeah. Everything is on shortage. It is. It's scary when you have leaders of countries coming up and saying, hey, we're gonna have food shortages, we're gonna have problems with the supply chain and all this stuff. And I try not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I am.
It is happening, without sounding crazy, and we laugh about doom,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more like inflation that I'm scared about.
Yeah.
I've seen, like, the only thing that is decreasing is the electronics keep us still
Yeah.
But like when the important stuff, I'm worried. But that's why we do all this, right?
Yeah.
But to answer Kay's question there, how many feet is our well? It's 150 feet.
Oh,
And we
nice.
have a bison pump on it. If you heard about that.
That,
Um,
that's a hand pump on top.
Correct. The brand is Bison,
Mm-hmm.
out of the States, actually. It was here when we moved in, and it's the most intriguing thing that people are going for when they come around. It's, oh, beautiful woods. It's, what the hell is this? But once again, I think the man here didn't use solar much, that used to own the house. It's crazy. Like he had that, he had a bunch of stuff that we were wondering about. And it's like, oh, like it's hard to follow someone you didn't meet, because
Right.
he lost the house because he owed money to the municipality, but he had money in the bank. So I think he lost it somehow. Like that's another story. But so, yeah, so I'm every day I'm trying to see what happened here,
Uh-oh. I
There's
ordered
squash
squash.
Savannah.
It's only Remy that's supposed to drink. Remy, if you're here, it's only you that's supposed to drink when squash is mentioned.
Yeah, no. But I don't know if you saw yesterday, but in Squash We Trust came up.
Yes. Yes. I think it was Lynn said she was going to make a T-shirt.
She made a teacup or a coffee cup.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We had to say Kay and I went on a rampage as well. It's like, hey, just squash it, with the Nike logo, stuff like that. It's like, okay, let's not do that today, just tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, that's my son there, Psychotic Sal.
Oh, hey, Sal.
You have to change your name, buddy. Yeah. Sorry, Maryland there, and Remy did a shirt. He sent that to me this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Anyway, it's fun
Nice.
stuff. But
Yeah.
you can't print stuff off grid.
Well, no. I use Redbubble. Basically, I go on Canva. I make up the designs. I buy. I'm not an artist, so I purchase from. Oh, good grief! What is the name of that? Let me pull it
Like
down.
Shutterstock, Go Getty Images and stuff like that.
Somebody driving by. Oh, it's a tractor. Okay. Yeah. Fabric. Creative Fabrica or something like that. Yeah, Creative Fabrica or something to that effect. And you can buy designs and with the commercial license and then I just change them in Adobe or in I have a program that where you can work with all sorts of that and it's really nice. And then I do a lot of what do you call them? My mind is not working tonight. I need to up my meds. The fine art type stuff, the public domain stuff from like museums and stuff
Royalty
like
free.
that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just awesome.
Yeah, Ren's saying Vistaprint. I use Printful.
Yeah,
All bunch of stuff that you can do all that. It's pretty fun.
and then I just upload it to the to Redbubble, and when somebody wants one, they make it and ship it, and I just get it my $3 or $4 from it.
Yeah. It's funny. We're saying that you cannot print online, but you can if you want to. Like you can do like here. The goal is to live normally, but without the consumption.
Right.
And that's always the goal when you live off grid is to consume less. Or at least that's the idea of. But there's people who go crazy and buy all bunch of solar and run 220 and heaters and and stuff like that, but that costs a lot of money and a lot of
Yeah.
energy. And it's not that we're hippies, but we're like that makes sense,
Conscientious. Yep.
conscientious of what we're doing, and that we, like, what does it take to be of grid? I think it's that you need to have, and the freedom that you want, because a lot of people want to go off grid. Oh, you're off grid. Okay, I want to do that too for so many years. Yeah. What about your spa?
Yeah.
What about your garage there with your welder? It's all doable. But
Yeah.
what about your
You can
Tesla?
do it.
There?
Yeah.
you know,
You can do it, but right now when it's $5 a gallon for gas, how long do you want? The initial investment is can be huge. But I think if I would have run electric from the telephone poles out by the snowplow turnaround, I think they wanted $5 or $6 grand for that alone.
yeah, that's a
And
small take, but huge when you think about the distance.
yeah. And by going off grid, I ran everything myself. I don't have to worry about telephone poles. Wendy joked about making me go on grid. And I said, "How are you going to make me go on grid?" She goes, "Well, if you keep mouthing off, I'm going to kick you out." I said, "Oh, okay."
Well, then you'll be really off grid. You would have been really, really off grid because it's a
Yeah.
little hot there. But like here, because the man who lived there before for the past 25 years never had electricity. The electricity is about 1K each side, and we're in the middle of it, and there's one neighbor. And so, therefore, it would cost us more, like 10 times what you mentioned there.
Yeah.
So, but really, we bought the place knowing that it was solar. So the idea was like, well, let's try, and if anything, maybe, who knows, but it wasn't in our plans, let's put it that way. And it would cost a lot of money that we don't have. And why would I pay to get the service that is supposed to be there? So, but really our upgrade costs 10 times less than that,
Yeah. Yeah. And now it's everything is modular. If I wanted to upgrade my system to, say, a 24-volt system, all I would have to do is replace my inverter charge controller. Lynn said that she ordered a t-shirt made on Redbubble, and it was terrible quality, and it is size large, but it barely fits my size 4 daughter. Yeah, I've actually had good luck with Redbubble so far. I bought a shirt with my original logo on it from Spreadshirt, I think it was. And it was one of the finer. I made the mistake of buying it. It's a real soft fabric, and it's kind of form-fitting, which would be great, except I'm a fat guy with a gut, so it doesn't look that great. But after a while, I don't know, after 15 washes maybe, it started peeling. But I think that's because of the fabric of the shirt. But Redbubble, I've done good. This was from, the hat was from Spreadshirt or Teespring.
It's
Spreadshirt. Was it? No, it's printed right on there.
Oh, cool. That's good.
Yeah, it says THAM141homestead.com, off the grid in the 21st century. Because that's what Wendy wanted. Wendy and I, we wanted to be more independent. We know things are going to get bad. And it's one of those things where, if nothing else, I thought that it might stop my mom from calling me and say, "Is your power out?" Because when we used to live right down the road from her. And so when her power went out, ours would be out too. And I'm like, "No, Mom, I haven't had a power outage in a long time."
On that note, though, people rely on hydro, whatever company they have, but you're right, we rely on ourselves. But if it breaks, we need to
Yeah.
fix it.
Yeah.
That's the draw. But redundancy is, you always need a redundancy.
Yeah. Two
And
is
it's
one.
never, yeah, and it's never the batteries that will go out. And if anything, the panels won't break, unless you
Right.
have a tree falling on it the day after you install them.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
We were
That would
cleaning the trees and we had three left, and wind gusts. The tip just
wow.
hit one of them, and we're like, oh, let's change it, right? So we tried to find another one the same. Nope.
Yeah.
But it's nothing. Well, it's that big when you think of it, but it shattered like tempered glass. So it caps about 100 watts less than it's supposed to.
See, emailed them and they were nice, but they said their sizes are not true to size. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Yes, you don't have to pay every month for electric. That is that is powerful right there. Because we went on this it was a National Grid was the provider, but then you go under this other program and you pay them and get a better rate, even though you're still just getting the stuff from National Grid. But every year you had to call in and sign up again. Otherwise, that company could do whatever they wanted with your prices. I
Oh,
had
okay.
I went from paying $110 to $120 a month one winter to up to $250 a month
Okay.
for
Just for
electric.
nothing. Just wasn't anything
Just I
special.
forgot to call.
Okay.
And
Expensive call.
so since then New York and several other states has told them they went to court and told them they couldn't do that. But I said no, never again, man. My
Yeah.
price. I'm gonna provide my own electricity. It's easier. All my tools are either run by a generator or battery. I am set up so that my house, I can charge all my batteries, my laptops, my cameras, all that stuff. I can charge them myself. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just that freedom there,
Yeah.
to tell them. Now, I was really hoping because I know in Florida there was a town that there was a lady that was off grid, and they actually took her to court, and the judge ruled that according to the town law, she had to have electricity run to her house. She did not have to use it, but it had to be run into a box on her house,
Yeah.
which meant she had to pay for that.
Yeah. Sure. There's a bunch of stuff over here too. A lot of stories I heard before I move off grid.
Mhm.
Um, I know that you are obligated to have it if you are in like a suburb,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But there's nothing in the countries. But here they have bylaws that tells you your panel cannot go above your roof. So they anticipated that at some point. But there's nothing that tells me I cannot, especially the house was here.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, they could anytime say, well, you cannot harvest your rainwater. We've
Yeah.
seen that before. You cannot not have a clothesline because it's whatever it is. A whole bunch of stuff that I heard before, and that scares me more than inflation or World War
Yeah.
III.
Yeah.
Kay's right there and laughing at me, but it is true. Like
Yeah.
it's they will do that without telling you. You know.
Yeah. They like with the rainwater. I don't know what justification they use for that. I collect rainwater.
Mm.
Um, and
Maybe it's because of phreatic,
The
water
acid.
ground.
y-
That's one thing.
Well,
All those big greenhouse, it doesn't help. So if everybody does it, I
well,
don't.
the thing is I can tell you why we're having one reason we're having because God created the earth as a closed system. Okay. Everything that's here is here and it's got cycles. The hydro cycle, basically, where you get rain, it goes to the groundwater, then it goes out into the lake or whatever, evaporates, creates clouds, creates rain, and that's a big cycle. Well, they're saying, wow, there's not enough water in the air anymore. Well, how many thousands of warehouses do we have good old fashioned bottled water? Thousands and thousands of gallons of it that are
It's not
just
only the
sitting there.
rain they don't get. That's
Yeah. Once you put it in this bottle, it doesn't go back into the system until you drink it.
you,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least three-quarter of it.
Yeah.
It is crazy. And water is a resource that, same as sun. It's sorry, it's not the same as the sun, or perhaps it is, but sun will always be there. Water may not.
mhm, Yeah. You too, Lynn. Have a great day. Take care of those loofahs. Um, yeah.
Those are
It's
strange.
what's that?
The loofahs, they're a strange thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I always yeah. Um, but even that would be nice to grow, just so you can
Useful.
yeah. Uh I mean for scrubbing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um there
Brazil.
was so much stuff that I think part of being off grid is changing your mindset from being a consumer to being a provider.
100%.
Um what's that?
100%.
Yeah.
You know,
Um and now I'm not 100% self-sufficient here. I think I said in one of my videos the other day, I'm on a pension, and if that ever goes bye, then things are going to get real. It's going to be scary.
it's
But
funny you say that. I say everybody, I'm self-reliant, I'm off grid, but the mortgage isn't.
right,
That's
yeah.
uh that's the thing you
Um,
need to think about.
I actually tried to mortgage this place um, just this last winter um, because I've got a line of credit. The house we lived in Port Leyden, I still own and I rent it out, and I have a line of credit on that I wanted to pay off. So I went to switch it over. They said, "Oh, you don't live there anymore, so let's do your other property. It's worth more anyway." Well, the guy came to do the estimate or evaluate how much it was worth, and
The bank or
yeah,
the okay, yeah.
the assayer for the bank or survey whatever, uh, and they came to the conclusion they didn't have any other off-grid houses in the area that they could compare it to get a reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's sad when you think of it because there's nobody else around that lives off grid.
right. Well, I got 20 acres of woodlot,
That's
hardwood
worth something.
woodlot.
Yeah.
That's got to be worth something. It's got a well, it's got septic, it's got, all this stuff. And but I think it might have been God's way of telling me I'm going to try to mortgage the house in Port Leyden. That way if something happens, I'm still secure here, because that's what we did was
Very good.
we got the line of credit on the house in Port Leyden to buy this land and build this house. And my brother worked real cheap, so
Yeah. It's funny when we purchase a place, and of course, off grid is always a thing, right? Like
mhm.
the bank always will ask some questions and this and that. we didn't have that much trouble in that terms because it was a fairly, not too old of a house, So everything went well, and we explained them it was solar and didn't budge. I guess it's not a little check mark you have to do. There's no check mark to be made.
Right.
So but one thing we learned, and I think that's bank wise, it's not the same everywhere, but the bank we're with did not calculate more than 5 acres. So after 5 acres from the bank, the value is not thing, even though I have 23 acres, they only go with the value of 5 acres, not the town, but
Right.
that bank went on and did that. So all of a sudden we needed to go in our wallet and pay the difference,
Yeah.
So that's something you need to hear anyway, or maybe it's the bank thing. I don't know in your place, but
I don't know. I've got to do something with it soon, because it goes basically what I'm worried about is I have a variable rate on the line of credit, and the rates are going up, but then in a couple years it goes to where you stop being able to draw and use it, and then it's just paying, and they can do all sorts of stuff with the payment, and I don't want it to be any higher than it is. So I'm just going to try to redo a regular mortgage for the house in Port Leyden as a rental property, and hopefully they'll
that's like your cash cow,
yeah, it's that pays. I use that. It pays the taxes for the house in Port Leyden. It pays for the taxes up here. And then every once in a while, Wendy and I would use it to go to dinner or to grab something we needed. It wasn't making us rich, but it's just keeping itself afloat. It's paying for itself and paying for us.
That's it. I don't know how it was when the first upgrade house was work. It's a TP,
Yeah.
so TP were perfect.
Yeah. On grid, I don't know. I do know it was in
on grid.
the late 1800s when Wendy and I were buffs on the history of Lewis County. Port Leyden paid there was a power, actually a hydro generator on the Black River right in the village that produced power, and they paid her, I think it was $1 a week to put electricity to the street lights in the village, so that they would have electric.
That's good payback then.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I saw on grid there. That's I thought it was saying off grid, but the TPs were perfect. But on grid,
Yeah.
I guess it was electricity that came first, right? Like no water. The water came after, I guess.
Yeah. Indoor plumbing. I don't know how it works, because I know, like in the cities, a lot of times they have the water tanks on top of the buildings, which is nice. That's smart, because you then say the power goes out or something happens with the water, and you got gravity fed water pressure for a while. And that's good. Anybody homesteading in an apartment, that's one of my big things is, listen, if you're in an apartment, you can still homestead. It'll be more challenging, but most of it's about knowing where the resources are. You won't be able to store as much, but you'll be able to, if you know where your resources in your area are, you might be able to hit them up.
Forage community. You can create a community. You can, maybe you have something to offer to anybody else.
Yeah.
The bread maker, the shoe repair guy.
Yeah.
So
security and all that. That's one thing that I really hated giving up when I came out here off grid. Between my best friend, my brother, my mom, and there are a couple other people on our road that were on board. But if things got really bad, we were prepared to shut the street down and for security and to kind of make a co-op to provide for everybody's needs on the street.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh, bank wise,
yeah.
I heard a story, and that relates to this, I guess. But they were, I don't know if it's on YouTube here or someone was saying something like this, but they were asking the farmer to remortgage their farm, and 6 months after they weren't be to buy equipments and stuff, and then they weren't be able to pay for it, so the bank purchased the land back and stuff like that, so they maybe that's how they first made the mortgage. But I remember they were paid for, nobody had to pay anything, but then they came up with faster solution, and all bunch of stuff, and people were buying the stuff but couldn't afford it. So
Well, they started at one point. I mean, there's always been bankers. The Templar
bakers too.
Knights, yeah, bakers too. Thank God, I love my bread.
True
But
that.
the Templar Knights, when they after the Crusades, when they came, they had formed a system of banking when they were in the Holy Land, and they would lend money at little interest, and so they would make money. And then when they got back to, I want to say France or England, King Philip was the one that was king at the time. So I don't know
France.
which. France.
Yeah, he's the
Um,
one who got scared.
yeah. They were amassing wealth because they came up with a system of banking where, yeah, okay, you're going to have a harvest in the fall, but you need money to buy seed. Okay, we'll give you X amount of money for seed and you give us X amount of your harvest. And they were becoming rich. And King Philip got intimidated, not to mention um there were some weird goings on with him anyway, if I remember right.
I wasn't there.
Right.
Or
I
maybe I
was.
was, but I don't remember. But yeah, I know that's it's all based on fear, all these things, and I'm glad I do all this by uh, because I love it. Like I'm scared about the inflation, but it's a big word. Like I'm doing this because I dig this. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy myself. I feel calm. I'm not upset. Whatsoever. And that's one of the thing is being self-reliant is you count on yourself. And of course, we buy propane, so that's a tie.
Mhm.
Uh, about it, you're never going to be off grid, but the satisfaction of being here and doing stuff and being able to fix things up, it's good job, in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. Being fully self-sufficient, I don't think is really attainable. But we try to do the best we can. The fear thing, um, there was a lady, an old lady. She was driving like 35 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone, and a cop pulled her over. And he walks up to the window and he knocks on the window. She rolls the window down. She goes, "Before you start, Sonny, I want to let you know I got a 357 on my hip. I've got a 9mm in the glove box. I got a shotgun in the back seat. I got an AR-15 in the trunk." And she just listed these names, and the cop's like, "Ma'am, what are you afraid of?" And she says, "Not a darn thing."
Anymore.
Ready for everything, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's being ready is one thing, like, and being ready in fear is one thing too, like,
Right.
but when you thrive, it's not based on fear, it's based on, like, being happy, I guess. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. People talk about the stress that comes from the urban lifestyle. Um, and I feel so bad because I know there are people out there right now that their dinner is still at the store until they're on their way home from work. They don't have anything put aside. And those are the people I worry about because, my goodness, what happens if you go to buy dinner at the store and the store is closed?
In the next one,
Yeah,
yeah.
boom, then you're not eating that night. That I'm worried for other people. My mom, she has been she was a prepper before it was cool, a homesteader before it was cool. We didn't know we were homesteading. We had a big garden, of which I hated picking weeds. I keep saying my stepfather is laughing at me from heaven every time I'm in the garden because I used to hate being in the garden and picking weeds and stuff like that. Um, but she would can things. We'd go berry picking, apple picking, pine cone picking. We literally, there was a couple years there where the state was buying various pine cones for various amounts of money, kind of like lumber. And we would, as a family, go out and pick just trailer loads of pine cones, and then Pa would take them to the spot, and they would give him money for them. So that
I
was,
remember purchasing cones, big cones like this back when I was living on the West Coast there in Kimberley.
yeah,
And yeah, crazy. You
yeah,
don't even imagine when all the resources you have sometimes.
yeah.
That's just an example, like what's it called? Fir tree growth, like little thing at the end, people.
The fur tips, I think they call. They're just
I think so.
Remy was picking them.
Yes, he was. Yeah, yeah. We all did that, right? Or maybe he didn't, but it's amazing. Like these things, people would go and would go and basically people would buy that because they saw it on Pinterest.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, and the resources are there. It's there and it's free. And I mean, I think a lot of farmers, they don't get to add because of the way the economy is run by the government and stuff now. They don't get to factor in their time into the cost of their product. Um, but
That can
it's
become expensive.
yeah,
Very much.
yeah. Think about it, man. If you've got, I don't care if it's 60 acres that you have to plow to plant corn so you can feed your cows, and your tractor dies and you got to buy a new tractor, those things aren't cheap.
How long it takes to break even? That's one thing. We know the mortgage is in 5 years it's paid for. Like
Yeah.
and that's it. Like you have to be smart because I could have spent 3 times more to get everything done at the same time, whatever, and still we would need a generator. So if you think about it, the consumption, is it worth it? We don't have a dryer, like
Right.
and that's the thing. And that in the microwave are the things we do not miss at all. Weirdly,
Right.
but microwave was the thing that I used to use like
Yeah.
big time, and a dryer always sort of running,
Oh, yeah.
always, because winter, whichever.
Yeah.
And so that's like we were wondering, oh, are we going to go with the dryer, like a propane dryer or this or that? And then we're like, no, let's get an Energy Star, washer, and
Yeah.
that's it, And we did an upgrade that actually runs. It's got the same as a wood furnace. We had, that old houses with ducts, like the pushed air.
Yeah. Forced air. Yeah.
Forced air. And so we were looking at options because our furnace was a propane furnace, a big unit, and it was taking 700 watts all the time, and it was like, no way, like we need like a crazy system to run that. So we changed that, and because here we have lots of wood that we care for, and so we did that. It reduced our consumption by 3/4, and that in itself paid for all the propane we used last year.
Yeah. I don't have a dryer. I have clothesline for the winter that I can set up in the house. The wood stove does a great job at drying it out. The birch branch for Christmas decoration. Oh my. Here are the woods, people. They grow for free.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a good thing, though. Like they sell that for $30. Those Wraith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice packaging. Yeah.
Um, it's just amazing to me. Like I've got to get back into selling my eggs. Right now, this morning I took out 3 dozen eggs to the pigs because I won't sell eggs that are over a week old. And I forget to take them to church. Wendy always took care of all that stuff, so I'm still adapting to that. But the pigs are loving them.
You touched something nice there because everything straps from your table. We grow stuff for our dogs. Like for a dog, they like eat like she likes carrots, so we're gonna grow carrots. It's also important to. I think it's Acre Craft that we're talking about that. Making food for your animals. Making feeds and stuff, and very smart. But how can you calculate that? How can you? How does it work? It's another level.
Yeah. I tried to bust into that level here a little while back. I went and the feed store I get the chicken feed from, I asked her, I said, do you have any hard winter wheat? I was thinking I could plant part of the yard with the hard winter wheat and then harvest it, and I would get like, I don't know, 2 5-gallon buckets worth of wheat from that for me to grind into flour. I have a hand grinder, and then I could store the rest to mix in with the feed so that my chickens, I could put like 1 scoop of chicken lay mash in and then 1 scoop of these in. And she said, Tracy, she said, right now I don't have any. She said, and any special orders start at $75. Just for the
So it's so expensive to get.
Wow. Yeah. And that's for animal quality, which you can. There's the only difference. We did a research. I do have some hard winter wheat stored in a Mylar bag in a 5-gallon bucket. I think it's down to the house in the basement of the house in Port Leyden. But we bought that. It was a really good price from Bailey's, like 5 or 6 years ago, and it was a really good price, but it was animal level. Well, the difference is it's not filtered as much, so you get some tears in there and
Shells.
Yeah, some stuff like that, and then it's not FDA inspected.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't need some guy going through my food saying, nope, can't have that.
I purchased like apples and carrots, that meant to be for hunting, and you process it. Sometimes they're just looking ugly, and who cares,
Yeah. There's a guy, Marilyn, you know who it is. James Pagliaro. He's a gardener in New Jersey, and he has a little dog. It's just a little thing, and I think the guy's a vegetarian. He's got an awesome food forest, and but this dog will go and pick a cucumber right off the vine and sit down and start eating it. And same with carrots and stuff,
Yep.
It's amazing.
It's fun that we're talking about food and how we process food, but that's another story when you're off grid. You need to process it somehow.
Yeah.
And once again, we have a propane stove because we cannot have a electric stove. and I will never get rid of it, even though the propane is to the roof. It's one of those things that is very nice. But to can or to make maple syrup, you buy one of those big ones and you big burners, put on top. Still,
Yeah.
it's propane. So unless you go with wood,
Right.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not quite the same as a regular urn, but yes, James Prigioni.
Gotta check him out.
Yeah, he has got a food forest. He lives in New Jersey. He doesn't have a whole lot of land, but he has got perennials. He's got fruit trees, and growing in and around his fruit trees, he's got berry bushes and annual fruits and vegetables, tomatoes, and everything. It's just everything
Crazy.
works really nice. And the dog Tuck is the dog's name, and the dog is just awesome.
I think I've seen him before. He does a lot of permaculture stuff.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and I'm learning a lot about that. And I told this story to a few because I think that's what the man was doing here. Like permaculture stuff. So when we bought the place, everything was overgrown. Like golden rods. Wild berries. Like almost 4 feet tall everywhere in the garden and stuff. So like in the moment you trash all whatever. Oh, we're keeping this. And then so I found it's a cherry tree, but ornamental cherry tree, big tree anyway. I was like, what's this? So I'm starting to pull something. It was a vine, like total permaculture thing. Like 25-year-old vine that was going all the way to the top. And everything. I was like spending the day doing that. I'm like, what we're doing here? Then we like figured what it was.
Yeah.
So that was our first mistake.
Yeah.
Nobody died, but when we learn what it was, it's like, oh, like we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. It's goldenrod. It's funny because people blame goldenrod for their allergies so much, and most of it is not goldenrod. It's the ragweed that grows and blossoms at the same time the goldenrod, because the goldenrod pollen is so heavy it doesn't go very far from the plant.
That's it. Yes.
I actually have goldenrod tincture. It's just goldenrod leaves and blossoms in 80 proof vodka, which medicinal properties there. But and if you have a sinus infection or your sinuses are clogged, you put 3 drops from an eyedropper under your tongue, and you literally feel it start popping in your head and opening up.
Very nice.
It is amazing. My mom, though, there are people who are really allergic to goldenrod. My mom, I walked up behind her and she just started sneezing and coughing and wheezing. And I'm like, Mama, I'm sorry. I wanted to see if you were really allergic to it. Not suggested to an 80-year-old person, but
that's really good. 100%. What you said there is totally true. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful yellow, but maybe not in the garden,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very important to keep those, like you have trees and then you have everything that goes like this, so the rods, the apple trees, and a bunch of stuff. It's beautiful to be able to do something like that.
Yeah. And if you can find perennials that grow,
useful perennials.
Yeah, useful perennials. My asparagus this spring, my main plant came up, and I was able to harvest a small handful of the rods of asparagus, and the ones I planted in seed last spring that had come up didn't come back up, and I'm like, oh man, I walked out the other day and they're that tall. I don't think I'm going to be short of asparagus for a while here in a couple of years.
Yeah, stuff like that are amazing. Like we transplanted I think it's called stinging nettle.
Stinging nettle, yep.
That in itself is a superfood. it's twice as much protein as beef for the same amount of kilogram. Of course, you're gonna need a big pouch of it,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful. It's tasty. It's great stuff.
And
Great stuff.
that's something that kind of, it just naturally folds into being off grid is the bushcraft side of it, the foraging side of it, because you want to be a producer and not a consumer. And there's so much. It's like aspirin. If you need an aspirin, plant, if you use a lot of aspirin, plant a willow tree, and then go out once a year and take some of the new branches, the new growth, and then just peel the bark off them, put them in a I don't know, you could probably just dehydrate them or put them in a paste, or
The bark.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where aspirin, the formula for aspirin came from, was willow bark. It's just the pharmaceutical companies were able to say, hey, this cures headaches, or this helps with this. Let's find out what it is in this bark that's making this happen. They found out what it was, figured out the molecular structure. Now they can synthesize it. They can make it, so they don't need the willow tree anymore. However, you don't get all of the benefits that you got with the willow tree, and the medicine is harsher, but it's more pointed.
Very pointed. Yeah. It's crazy. That's another thing. Medicine. How many things we forgot? Like that were taught 100 years ago, even.
Yeah.
Before the electricity, before the mortgages.
Yeah.
It's all the dependency that was created, I don't know, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me. It's being dependent, and by all means, I'm part of that society that I didn't choose, but I accepted. But it's hard to get rid of it once you're in. Like I'll be happy if the last thing I have to pay is my taxes.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have to do. It would be nice. It's a goal.
Yeah. I'm slowly working my way there. I need to get I want to get a couple more batteries, and then I think I'd be okay with just 2 more 12-volt batteries I've got a little chest freezer down at my brother's, and I want to bring that up here. And then I think I will be set, because I'll be able to keep all of my meat right here on site. But
in a deep freezer?
Yeah, it's a chest freezer that's, I don't know, I think it's like 5 cubic feet or something. It's not a very big one. But it was just something we needed.
But you don't need a big one.
No, I get.
Yeah.
Wendy and I went down to keeping half a pig, and then we sell the other half, which pays for ours. And then I plan on starting hunting again this year. And so with just me, I'll probably just, limit me to like 1 deer.
That's a lot for one person, for sure.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Ren, you don't enjoy giving other people your money to spend for you?
Cheers, Ren. We're all in the same boat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's it's another thing that has been around forever.
Yeah.
Even when we think about pre-Diluvian civilization, it's what's still happening.
Yeah. The thing is we've gotten so technological. We have so much technology, and technology is a good thing most of the time, but now you have to regulate that technology. Okay. There were no speed limits when you had horse and buggies, maybe in certain areas, but when you had horse and buggy and you were going, like you hit the outskirts of the real populated area and you were headed home, there is no speed limit, man. Hey, Remy's here.
He wasn't the first one.
No, you weren't the first. Marilyn was the first one this week. But better luck next time. I know you're busy setting up your area.
Yes,
That's
beautiful.
exciting there. Oh,
Yeah. Nothing beats the excitement of a new place,
Yeah. And I saw I had known Remy when they hit him with that for a little over a year, I think it was. And I just saw him deflated. They
Oh, the
just took
chicken
his
story.
lust. Yeah, when the town hit him with that. And oh, nice. Family first, man. No problem. But and then when Serge came up with this land thing there, helping him out there, you could see the life breathe back into it. It's just awesome. It's a wonderful thing. We have one of the best communities. We're all at different spots. We're all on the journey of homesteading. Some of us are off grid. Some of us are on grid. Some of us are master gardeners like Annie. She is literally my hero when it comes to planting. Her
She's on
and
fire.
yeah. And the community is just amazing. I thought about what you said yesterday, Patrick, while working, paying tax on tax. You pay taxes on accommodation taxes in hotel. Yeah.
I know that, but I didn't realize it. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes. Now when he has to go to a hotel, he's going to be depressed.
Yeah, no, actually, that's the thing. My real life work starting again. Like I'm doing convention for a tattoo supply company, and
Oh, nice.
we've been off grid for 2 years, and it's just starting again. And reminds me of accommodations, and I do miss it, but I don't.
Yeah. Darren from Thorhaven Farm put a picture on Facebook today. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but that this was his office for the week, and it looks like he works for Magpul, which makes the magazines and firearm stuff. I'm not sure, but it sure did look. Boy, oh boy, there's my in for Magpul because according to the New York Safe Act, I'm not allowed to have a 30-round magazine anymore.
It's crazy. He does that. He works for, I'm not sure the details, but for a firearm thing. And he must have a lot because there's a law here in Canada that they passed that basically you're not allowed to have a handgun whatsoever.
Really?
And it's just passed. Yeah, pretty bad. I don't own a firearm whatsoever, but the right to is important to me.
Yes.
Because more rights is better than less, because they're going to always get less and less, right? So.
Yeah. Well, they're talking about and that does affect a homestead. With these
get
laws,
rid of stuff sometimes.
We have people in Albany that are in deep contact with people in New York City, making laws for people in, say, Lewis County that has more cows than people. We're rural. Man, if a bear busts down my door and wants to come in, I need a firearm to protect myself. The police are not going to get here very fast. I don't have a precinct building on the corner. It's one of those things that the people in the cities are making laws for the people in the country, and it doesn't work.
No.
We just had a school shooting in Texas, and now I guess there was one at a restaurant or something like that. And
you mean another one?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
After the school shoot. Well, the school shooting is horrible enough. I can't fathom an elementary school. These are babies that this guy went in, and evil upon evil. And they're talking about new gun laws and restrictions. My thing is that there is not a gun law or a restriction that they could have come up with that would have stopped that. The man legally purchased the firearms.
Mhm,
Now,
mhm.
okay, you want to raise the age to 21? I don't
30.
think it's right.
Yeah, doesn't matter, but yeah.
But if you want to raise it, as long as I believe in a military exemption, if you served your country in the military, then you shouldn't have to wait till you're 20. I was 17. Well, I turned 20 in a combat zone in Desert Storm. I came back after the war and I couldn't drink in a bar.
Mhm.
I'd been in Germany for 3 years. I could probably drink most people under the table at the time. But there was a door left open at the school that should have been locked. There was no resource officer. Um, if you want to stop these school shootings, let the teachers say, listen, teachers, if you want to arm yourselves, arm yourselves. We don't want to know. We don't care. Then put a sign out saying, our teachers may be armed. You will not, this is not a soft target.
Yeah,
That would stop stuff like that.
yeah. But you're right. It's not that people purchase usually. I know in the States it's a bit rougher, but here in Canada, there's nothing really happening on that hand. And they, like Renz was saying, they just pulled a whole bunch of firearms law um, because I'm like, okay, anybody that owns a gun will do anything like that, perhaps, but the chances are not.
Well, there were 3 senators that tried to they proposed a bill. They even their own party wouldn't let it come to the floor. That you had to have a permit to possess any firearm in
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
United States,
Hmm.
which means that I'm 51 years old. I got my first gun 40 years ago. I still have it.
You would need to register it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they want me to take a test to see if I'm competent to have it. Now, I went through extra scrutiny to get my pistol permit. I have PTSD from the Gulf War, and so I went through extra scrutiny. I had to go before the judge and answer a bunch of questions. And then the judge talked to the sheriff. They looked me over good. It took 6 whole months for me to get my pistol permit. Um, but I got
Wow.
it because I've never anytime I come in contact with the police, it's a good contact, unless I get like a speeding ticket or something. But even then, that cop, if you ask that cop, was he respectful? Did he have his hands where I could see him? I set them at ease,
You're not going into a fight. That's the thing.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I understand where sovereign citizens are coming from. I mean, there are things that our government does not need to be involved in. But yeah,
See here, you need to have your like pistol, handgun. You need to have them in a box with the clip separated, and stuff like that when you go somewhere somehow.
yeah,
So how convenient it is to go and do a shooting when you are obligated to do that. Just like you said, things, and Ren said the same thing, doesn't make sense. And they now legalize small amount of hard drugs in British Columbia. Like they want to put everybody out to sleep, and like what are they doing?
yeah. Um, yeah, it's under the New York State Safe Act. I have to have all my guns locked up.
Mhm.
Um, and my thing is the safest place for my pistol is on my hip. I know where it is. I'm in control of it. And the thing is if somebody comes in here at night, or God forbid I have a raccoon or something attacking my chickens, and I have to, it just makes no sense. And some of these people making these laws and coming up with these suggestions know nothing about firearms, have never shot a firearm. There are two types of people in the world. There are the types of people you take to a gun range and they will be traumatized, like that one reporter said he had PTSD from shooting an AR-15 on a range. The bang was, yeah. And then there's a type of people that once they shoot a gun, they will want to own one. They will love it.
It is crazy, you know, like by all means I'm able to defend myself here, but without any massive gun stuff, if anything happened, you know, like if someone wants to take the place with the bigger guns, I'm like, okay. You know, like but it's more like you said, for raccoons, for stuff that will make you you know, lose your bread, you know. And it's never humans, you know.
No, man, I carry my pistol when I go to the store, and everywhere that I legally can carry it, I carry it because things are crazy nowadays. If somebody's going to rob me for the amount of money I carry on me, I'm not going to take their life.
No.
I'm not going to let them take the gun, because then they could use it on somebody else. You know, that would be a no-no. But if they'll settle for my wallet, I'll give it to them. My money's usually never in my wallet anyway, but all that stuff, you know, but if they're going to threaten my life, then that's a different story. We had this thing called the gun show loophole that they kept talking about, where you could go to a gun show and you could buy a gun without a background check or anything. And for years I've been saying, show me where that gun show is, because I want to go. You can't find it. You can't find it. And yeah, unfortunately,
crazy
crooks are going to get guns. Yes. For the NSA and YouTube and the CIA and whatever the corresponding Canadian initial agencies are, we are all law-abiding citizens.
Sadly, but we are, right? It's a thing that, you know, we want to be outcasts living outside, but we don't have a choice to be complying. You know, like that's the thing. You know, we're not like what's it called, no man's land or something like that. You know, where people, they go and they appropriate your stuff and that becomes their stuff. You know,
right?
That's crazy utopic stuff. You know, but
and you know, unfortunately, we don't really have a choice. Now, I'm not saying lay down and surrender. There are proper ways. The Canadian law and the United States Constitution allows us legal means to protest and to fight these laws and stuff. The deck is stacked against us, but
of course they don't want us to win or anything, you know.
But it's like with Remy. He said, okay, well, yeah, I could have gone to court with him, but he could spend everything he has and they would still have a 10-foot deep pile of cash that they could throw into lawyers and tie it up in court for years. And here he'll lose everything. And God forbid you have to use your firearm in self-defense, because then the court bills and fines and stuff like that would just destroy you. You lose everything.
Yeah, the guys are talking about, you know, knives and stuff. Same thing, you know.
Yeah. Mahilin, all I can say to this comment is Molan Lebe. which is what um oh, it wasn't Darius, when the king of Assyria marched on Sparta, and he told the king of Sparta, uh, just lay down your swords. I want your swords. The king of Sparta said, "Molon lebe," which is, I believe, Latin for "come and take it." um, that's something that I don't know. I go back and forth on what I would do if they come and get my guns, because the guys coming to get your guns, they
You
got
never know.
families at home. They're my countrymen. They're the ones that are risking their life to protect us as it is. Um,
It's hard to be against the grain, even off grid. We're talking about off grid and stuff, but just being off grid sometimes, it's not even fun to talk to anybody. Like, oh yeah, like it's not even a conversation. At first I was all excited, but then like people, they don't get it. They're not interested really, like it's one thing I discovered is few people are really interested, but most of them are not.
yeah. Well, I'm known on most of this little hilltop here that I live on. Most of my road on both sides is all one family, and the connecting roads. And they know me as the off-grid guy. And I never really stopped to think, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I guess it used to be a bad thing. Oh, that's the hermit over there, or stuff like that, But I don't know. To me, it's life. It's being at peace. And
Yeah,
really, it's doing whatever we like.
yeah.
Like,
That's the basic thing is the freedom. Yes, if something breaks, I've got to fix it, but that makes me better because I don't have to pay somebody else. All it costs me is my time, and as my brother keeps reminding me, who's got more time than me?
true, true. Anyone play the tomato lots? Yes, I did.
Yeah, yes, I did the other day. In fact, tomorrow the video will be coming out. Let's see.
Those darn videos. And that one is for Rainy. But I had my morning routine video I wanted to put out before this. Never uploaded. I don't know why.
Yeah, basically you gotta just press record and go for it. Put yourself out there. It is kind of scary, man, because you're like, well, man, people might think I'm weird. And then, as my brother pointed,
Remy thought I was a creep, but that's okay.
what's that?
Oh, sorry. Remy thought I was a creep, but that's okay. No, because I'm very into it when I do stuff, and I was talking to the chat and stuff when I discovered them, and to me is and with you, it's real stuff, like it's real stuff. So I'm like, geez, like I like the guy who is in Rhode Island who does this, and in Arizona and stuff, but it doesn't like doesn't rely to me, anyway. So you guys, you're a few hours away, like Rams the same, and everybody else. So that's why I got carried away and started to chat with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you did. There is so much that we can learn from each other. There is so much inspiration. Um, I watch the videos from the people in these communities, from our community, and it's just amazing. Okay, well, they're doing it this way. I'm going to try that, and it's you got questions, you can ask them. Remy's about to hit 2,000 subscribers here shortly, and he's still just as approachable as when he was at 1,000.
Yeah, he did actually. He did.
Oh, he already hit it?
Yeah. I think in a couple of days he's gonna have a giveaway.
Oh, nice. I didn't think he hit it yet.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's yeah, it's funny thing, Ren's, glad you you like the idea, but it's so for some reason when they had that conference, I feel compelled to go. I'm like, what? Like, okay, I'm gonna show Rens I'm not a creep.
yeah, yeah,
But really, it's just I needed to get some hair and get out of the place, and I had to manage stuff here, and make sure the house was sustainable, and it's in the summer, so there's no problem, and we went. So that's it's I don't know why, but I went, and you know, it's was just the beginning, really.
yeah, yeah. It's just amazing. Yeah, the community sucked you in, and we're glad. Yeah, it's just one of those things. These are all great people. We all have different backgrounds, different. We're at different places, but yet we all share this dream. We all share this goal of raising our own food and being independent and
My lady there, yeah, Karen there, hey, it worked, right? That's funny.
oh
Yeah. But it's I don't know, it's I've been online for over 10 years, like doing remote stuff. So I guess I've done that before it was fashionable and stuff. And online has always been easy, like, yeah, extra long emails saying how you felt, and stuff like that. So it was just easy to go. But I'm so dyslexic sometimes that it doesn't make sense whatsoever. And I'm like, oh shit, you're gonna think I'm really weird, like.
well now your first language was French, right?
Correct. Yeah, born and raised.
Okay, you speak very good English, but I would imagine I don't speak French, but what German I learned and the Arabic, I'm not even going to talk about that. That was
That's crazy.
anyway. Yeah. But the sentence structures, they're um, American English, because there's English, and American English. American English is so complicated and laid back with its sentence structures, whereas French and German, I don't know so much about French, but it's like the where you put your nouns and your verbs and stuff is depending on what you're talking about changes.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's
I'm glad I learned French as a first language, because it's complicated. But yeah, I went and lived when I was 22 in Western Canada for 10 years. So, the only thing I knew was yes, no, toaster, flat tire,
oh yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, when you're submerged, you learn fast enough. Through that Rens, when you speak very, very slowly, it sounds like a harsh English.
Yeah. Um I've got a friend from when I was in Germany, and we're still in touch. And it's funny because on her Facebook posts and everything, her friends will comment back on there in German, and I, I'll have sometimes I'll have to ask her to translate and stuff. And she says, "You don't speak German anymore." I
Anymore.
never did. I was just
I was just stationed there,
yeah, well, when I was in Germany, I was just drunk enough to it must have sounded German apparently. Um,
That's I think it was a year in when I moved in. I used to live in Banff, and I was so drunk that my friend, like, who was from BC, was like, "Man, like, you lost your accent." I was like, "What?" I was just talking like with a hot potatoes in my mouth.
yeah, yeah. Um,
That's fun. I'm glad I did though. Yeah, my whole life now is based. My workplace is in Kingston, Ontario, and stuff like that. So I'm glad I did. That's for sure. Doesn't have anything to do with off grid, but it helps reading
no,
the material.
yeah, It does.
It opens your life. Let's put it that way. And I would have never learned anything about solar. Like whatever solar in French is very slim. Whatever is
Mhm.
here in Quebec, we got a lot of stuff from France, but it's it's just opened the doors and gives you tools.
Ren, my brother and I were talking about this the other day. Sometimes when you break down the English language, it's just absurd. To freeze something means to make it really cold. To thaw something means to warm up something that's really cold. To unthaw, you would think would mean to freeze, but it doesn't. It means to warm up something that's really cold. It makes no sense at all. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
And how many words can you use as one word? Like one word means 10,000 things.
oh, yeah. And then you get into the slang and the words that we've just destroyed. Um, I like my dogs like I like,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, you learn colors, numbers, directions, please, thank you, etc. to get by, but it's not the same as speaking it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I could find the train station. Let's see. Wo ist der Bahnhof? Where's the train station? Ich möchten Sie Ich möchten Sie ist das Fräulein in der Winter. I'm not
Yeah.
translating that one.
You're talking
um,
about a woman there and something.
yeah,
But
how much is the girl in the window? I was like
that was in
18.
Amsterdam.
Yeah. Yeah. Bremen had a huge red light district. But anyway,
That's where, after 12 o'clock, right?
yeah. Then my Arabic is limited to Kif Ilkishlahak Irifa Aidak, which means stop, lay your weapons down, put your hands over your head. It's usually followed by a loud bang.
Yeah.
Somehow I went all the way through grade 12 French, and I can basically only say, I'm sorry, my French is terrible.
Hey, truly, you never learn if you don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's. I met people when I was living in Banff. Lived there for over 10 years, and they were there for 2, 3, 4 years, and they left. They didn't speak anything. They were still speaking French because they were gathering with French people, partying with French people,
Mhm.
and so never go anywhere. Yeah, that's ocean, mother, and mare. So that's
Huh.
all the same. Mare. It's all the same pronunciation, but different words.
So you got to take the context to know which one to uh, decode. Yeah, to
Yeah,
translate it.
yeah. Same with like in French, the green, the glass. It's vert. It's all the same. It's, uh,
Well, it's kind of like uh, there, and there. In English, you have
yeah, exactly.
the only difference is a spelling. Um,
Mhm.
but let's see. I can also say terrible things about the boss, but that's not helpful. Yeah, especially if the boss speaks that language too.
Oh
Look
yeah,
at
that's
that.
like two words, a worm, a glass, and the color green.
Oh wow.
Amazing.
And then Marilyn is on the same. Those two are on the same level, man. They think alike.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot.
It's no, it's Remy is I say that a lot, but he's a true gatherer.
Yes, he is. He's a good guy. And um, I want to. My sister-in-law said she knows a place um where I might be able to get some fiddleheads and transplant them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that's what they did years ago. Is they went to somebody let them go on their property and transplant 4 or 5, and now they have this whole area that's got fiddleheads on it.
Yeah,
Um,
we found some here, and then we're like, oh shit, there's only like 20 of them. I was like, how come there's only 20?
yeah.
You know,
Well, it sounds to me like the guy that had that place before you was a prepper in his own right.
100%. I don't know if you saw my shorts. I've done a bunch of shorts, and I have a root cellar bunker in my backyard that I got emptied.
Nice.
And we were like, okay, what is it? Is it like a root cellar? Because they had pipes, vent pipes, and the way it was oriented. And so we got it empty maybe few weeks ago, and it was a bunker, like doomsday bunker. Like we found a dry shitter,
Yeah.
those big square tanks, water tanks, shelving and stuff. But yeah, it had collapsed. So
Oh man.
we were wondering. So, but yeah, it was a bunker.
That's the
And
one that. Yeah, it was in your. It collapsed, and then you had to dig it out. Okay, cool.
correct. Yeah, it was collapsed from before.
Right.
And more bunker content. Yes, I did record a lot of stuff, and so I'm about to send them to Rand so he can edit them. But yeah, no, seriously, I wanted to upload something before this. It was just my garden tour, and I couldn't upload it for some reason. Like it wouldn't. Like I spent 5 hours earlier today, didn't work. So yeah, so I failed on that part. But I got something I want to upload. And the bunker, it would be parts, I guess, part 1, because it won't have, like, I won't build anything on top of it before next year.
Right.
Not because, well, the money part, but also because we don't know what to do.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Metal detect the walls.
Yeah. The walls.
Yeah, there are places on top of the Tug Hill Plateau where there used to be farms, and it's all grown up hardwoods and some pines and stuff now, but you get these stone fences that they used to use as barriers for their yards and to separate the yards from their fields and stuff like that. And if you metal detect those, a lot of times you'll find you're supposed to be able to find like the sacks of coins that they hid because they didn't believe in banks. They were
Amazing.
smart. Wendy and I were metal detecting a cellar hole, and we found I want to say it's a 1796 gold, not gold, but $2 piece. And it was one that was minted in I think it was one minted in the Spain, but if it would have been minted in the colonies, then it would have been worth like $25,000 or something like that.
That's how you bought your place.
Yeah, I wish.
You were talking about the man from before, right? He's a character, I have to say. We should talk about him on the live. Just he was crazy. He lost it to a sect called Rantha. I don't know if anybody here is into Rantha, but it's quite something. They believe in extraterrestrial aliens. They believe in bunkers and stuff like that. And you were right. He was prepping because the people, the bank who got the house before we got it, they emptied it. They emptied the basement, and they found silver bars, like gold bars, but silver bars. They found heritage seeds, like hundreds and hundreds of them, and a bunch of stuff like that. And I was like, oh, shoot, I wish I could have found that, or just seeds, So when we emptied the bunker, and that's what Kay is saying here, is we were hoping, well, not really hoping, but we were like, oh, let's find some gold in there,
Right. He kept the silver in the cellar. Maybe the gold was in the bunker.
yeah. And maybe it still is. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, and at some point, the guy who excavated the place found some sort of a square thing, plastic, with a key in it. I was like, oh my god, this is it. But it was a toilet paper case. So so we were like, okay, maybe next scoop. Yeah. So I felt like in the what's called the Oak Island mystery thing.
Yeah. Yeah. One more scoop.
Yeah, one more scoop and we're going to see something. But it was fun, It was just we want to make a greenhouse on top of it, and
Yeah.
a root cellar at the bottom. First idea, but who knows? It's fun, All these things are fun, but when you think about it, I can only have 3 projects. Other than that, I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
So the chicken coop is about done. The garden is a ever steady thing, and just living is one of the other. Getting the wood prep for next year, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that's all part of that. But the guy who was living by himself here, I don't know how he was doing it. To be honest, he must have struggled or sleep in front of the fireplace because there's no way he could eat that place up.
Yeah.
Uh, he had propane, but he didn't have the power. So I was just we're baffled every time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there was a guy. I used to work for Pinkerton Security, um guarding a proposed landfill site, and it was a really big uproar. The landfill ended up going in there, but one of the guys that they approached to buy his property, he had cows. He had like 4 or 5 cows, and in the winter he would plastic off all but like 2 rooms of the house and bring his cows into the house because they helped keep it warm for him. That was, I mean, that's what we were told. I don't know, but that was just craziness.
Yeah. I heard people bringing chicken in their shower. Uh, I heard that today. Actually, my hairdresser is like, yeah. My one of my friend, went there one day and she had chicken in her glass, like a glass shower thing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you know.
Yeah. We raise chicks in the house, but they're contained. I don't think it's possible to potty train a chicken, and they go just about everywhere.
I potty train my cat to ring the bell to go outside.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mine just start meowing.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I just took the paw and did this. I don't know how cat works. A little bit better with dogs.
Yeah.
But or maybe it's more available. I don't know. But cats, it's just a mind of their own.
Yeah. Well, the main difference between a cat and a dog is a dog looks at humans and say, "Wow, they keep me warm, they give me food, they pet me, they love on me. They must be a god." And a cat says, "Oh, they keep me warm, they pet me, they love me, they feed me. I must be a god."
It's funny because it's totally true, and I think they're aliens, though.
Yeah, they could be. So he didn't find one of those blood diamonds.
Hey, thank you, Rams. Like I was saying earlier, I did one 10 minutes. I spent the whole day trying to upload. Didn't work. So I'm going to try tonight. So you might get notified, but I think you turned off my notification button there, Rams.
Well, I don't know if shorts notify you.
I have no clue. To be honest, I started to do shorts because it's less intensive.
Yeah.
And that's it, and even then, I'm like not even in it yet, just a matter of time, I guess. But I definitely recorded stuff for the bunker and stuff around. And it's fun because I love it. I do that for a living too. But for myself, I never did. I never took time to do stuff for myself. I just kept on working.
Well, it's kind of like a mechanic's car. He works on cars all day and he doesn't want to work on cars when he goes home.
Yeah. I asked the same question for Kay's dad was a mechanic, and he was like, "Yeah, nope, don't like it."
Yeah,
Clicked.
This time of year, it is it's really tough because I'm looking out the window or looking at the window and it's still light outside. I should still be out there,
Yeah.
And then when you think, okay, I'm going to put in these garden beds today, and then you're like, okay, I need to do some better camera angles. This video I got coming in tomorrow, I tried for some crafty camera angles, where you put the shovel of dirt on the camera, and then when you're sifting, the camera's underneath looking up. And it didn't come out the way I envisioned it, but you're like, okay, this is going to be labor intensive,
I think I'm overthinking stuff. I'm thinking, oh, should I do this or that, or if I do this, would I do this for a while? And then that's just me and my brain, working brain, work that think about that. I'm like, no, just just do it. And like Rams told me, Rams really, really is a gatherer, and told me, do videos. Ah! And then I was like, okay, I'm doing videos. And then I was like, shit, how can I do more, and how can I do it, and do it? Should I do this? And then I'm like, no, Pat, that's not it. Just press the button, just press it.
Yeah. It's the other day when I was making the video that's coming out tomorrow, I never pushed record. I use an old cell phone here for my microphone, and I never pressed record on the microphone. I never pressed record on the other camera. So all I had was the action camera that was in the case. So it wasn't picking up sound, which is, but it's no big deal. I mean, it's there. You can get the gist of what I'm doing. And I'm always throwing stuff at our poor camera. Yeah, I need it's got the case. It should be fine.
Me, it's I use my phone to listen to stuff. I listen to stuff a lot, and then I'm like, oh, I need to record stuff. But I won't be able to listen to it. I'm like,
yeah.
And then you put stuff on, and then it's and without going crazy too. Like we're talking about being off grid and spending the electricity, getting the same with money. Like if you spend too much on like gadgets and stuff, at some point it needs to be useful.
Yeah.
Like we figured, like, to build a chicken coop there, I figured I needed tools. Like I had a handsaw and a hammer. I was like, I was building the base. I was like, no, that won't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's invest a bit. But then I was like, it's a chunk of money, but then I won't be needed them whatsoever.
Right. And that's something that, especially when you're off grid, because you got a generator, but you're off grid, so you don't want to be running a generator all the time. You don't want that sound in the background of your videos. People say, well, yeah, he's off grid, but he's got power just like everybody else. And then it's expensive. So you got, when you got purchases like that, you're like, okay, how often, you got to weigh, how often am I going to need this? And then, how much easier is it to do it with it than it is without it? Because I'm trying to think. Well, my battery operated skill saw. I bought one. It's just a cheap one. It didn't cost me a whole lot. But I've got a skill saw. But I've got to, in order to use a skill saw, I got to start the generator, run an extension cord, plug it in. Then you got to pick everything. With this, I just grab it, throw the battery on, and I can cut for quite a while with it.
Yeah. And does your when you charge your batteries, does it show on your inverter like much? Me, it doesn't take much watts whatsoever.
No, I have. In fact, I think it's called the wattometer or something like that. You
kilowatt.
Yeah, the kilowatt. Yeah.
Yes, I got one. I never used it, to be honest.
I just plug it into the outlet, plug in the thing, and it tells exactly what you're using, because like with my grow lights, which should be on behind me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. Those run off just a cell phone charger. They have a USB connection. They and I wanted to know how much it takes. Then it takes like 0.05 amps or something like that. It's like 2 or 3 watts.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's yeah.
Uh,
You multiply the amps by the voltage, and it gets
yeah,
the wattage.
you get the watts. Yeah.
Very good, very important equation for everybody who wants to go off grid. You
Yes.
know, and it's those are always labeled on whatever products you buy. It shows the amp and the here in Canada anyway. It shows the amp and the well, of course, the voltage it takes, and with that, you're able to figure out how many watts per hour the
Yeah.
item is using.
Well, yeah, because like my batteries are marked in amp hours. I have 700 amp hours right now, which is an amp hour is how many amps if you used 1 amp per hour, that's how many. The thing is, things use more than 1 amp. But yeah, I found a lot of times they're not like fans and stuff. They don't put most of the stuff for Amazon. If you're shopping online, you can, in the product description, they'll have that information. But like I went into Walmart when I bought my coffee maker, it didn't tell how many watts or amps or volts or anything. I knew it was a 110 volt, or a 110, yeah, 120 volts. But and it turned out to be a little bit more than I should have.
Ren's just we'd love to be off grid. It's not in the 5-year plan. On that, I would say get your barn going.
Yeah.
Get your barn going with a small system like Tien was doing with his place at first. Then you light up your stuff, and then you see how it works, because with a system you could spend a few $1,000 and get your whole barn and chicken going. And if you need lights, you might want to expand on there, but start with garage, start with something, your kid's place, and then you see how it works. But yes, it's doable in 10 years if you think that you're going to be okay for the next 20,
Yeah.
because that would be a 25 mortgage years and stuff. It would cost you a lot of money to start from scratch, but if you go incremental, it's easier. And everything needs to be separated to me anyway. Like example, my house, and if I ever have a garage, outside of the house, because I got one attached, it would be independent. I'm thinking about my chicken coop. How would I eat it during the winter? So I'm thinking about using my old solar panel, make a thermal solar panel. Like those with cans. Like Wilderstead did those before. They basically capture the solar energy and push it, like forced air, push it into the house. So I'm thinking to do that for my chickens, and stuff like that. Stuff that do not require energy, but it's savvy. That's why I want to call my thing off-grid savvy. It's because I don't know everything, and I need to learn everything in order to be savvy, in order to be useful. Like I talked to Rams a few times about chickens. I don't know nothing about chickens. I never had chickens. He had thousands of chickens. And so that's a big thing, and that's why I was interesting with you guys. Like you're the compost king. Thor's got a solar passive greenhouse that I would love to do. I got the mayor of the next village here has got one too. And all these people who've done these things before. Is priceless information.
Yeah.
It is. And me, well, I don't have much experience, but I'm digging everything, and I got the solar thing, and I just want stuff to be built, and I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, it's very doable to start. Like I think I don't know. I might have had, I don't know. I did the math once and I can't remember how much it was. I want to say like, I don't even think it was $3,000 that I had in my initial investment uh into solar and stuff. With the chickens, I don't heat my chickens at all.
You know, that's what people are saying. Um, True people that live here.
Yeah.
A lot of people that live in, lower than you, saying, "Oh, you need to eat your chicken." I was like, "Oh, like, what do I do?" Like,
Yeah. Now there is a way to make a solar heater of sorts, and it's like a window on the outside. You have your wall, and then on the outside of your wall, you build a rectangle box, maybe 4 inches wide, maybe a 2x4 wide, 3.5 inches or so. And then you paint the wall inside the rectangle black and put a glass panel over it, and then cut a slot in the bottom and in the top. And that, as the air heats up from the sun going through the glass panel, it goes through the top vent, and which automatically draws cold air in and cycles that air. I don't know how great that would be, but I've
same thing I was talking about, but with, instead of using that, you use the actual solar panel, because when you got your solar panel, there's a frame, like a metal frame, right? And when you touch the back, it's all warm and like very warm. So that's what I was thinking about doing. But same thing, just different capture when you think about it. Yep. White partridge. Oh, yeah, Chanticleer. It's I was just typing to them here. We got some. I don't know. Kay would know the name. They're rustic. One is normal, but the other two are rustic, and they're laying eggs and stuff. And but Chanticleer, we couldn't find them here. I know they are available somewhere. Like Thor's got some, but we didn't know where, and so that's why we didn't get those. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I know Remy, he separates his by breed, so he's got the pure, like barred rocks. He's doing them separate from his other ones.
I think that's what one we got. Yeah, is there a reason for that?
Well, if you like the traits of that breed, you're more likely to get those same traits by breeding in species. See, I had Rhode Island Red Rooster and Rhode Island Red Hens, and we got pretty much Rhode Island Red chicks. Then we branched out to black sex links and buff Orpingtons, because buff Orpingtons tend to go broody, and I want my flock to be self-perpetuating. And from the buff Orpingtons, and I think it was a Rhode Island Red Rooster, we got two of the roosters that we had. Well, we got two roosters out of that one, because the three hens, of course, they had to be the ones that I think one of the cats got. But anyway, and so they were kind of a mixed breed, but then we got a buff Orpington rooster in with a new order of hens, of chicks, and they're mating. So we're the ones that came from the breeding on the farm, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You don't know really what you're going to get. One of them had barred rock coloring, and he was huge. The other is like got a nice, beautiful white speckled feathering on his collar, and then blue green body feathers, and it's really cool. There was a young lady that was she was trying to breed northern chickens. The only problem I've had with my chickens, and the winter cold is the combs on a couple of the roosters have gotten frostbite. If it's one of the nice roosters that I can pick up with no problem, I put Vaseline on it and that's that. But
So
most
it
of the time,
runs.
yeah, most of the time it doesn't seem to affect them. It turns black, the tips turn black, and then in the summer you'll just see them running around and they'll just be rounded off. So
Okay.
next year, I like the one that had it this year. Next year, he shouldn't have a problem because those tips are rounded off.
Okay. Gnarly stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, that's so basically, so you keep the breed intact. Basically, that's why you
Yeah.
stick with them. It's
Yeah.
we were talking about bylaws and stuff. Like here, we could have 99 chickens, no rooster whatsoever. Like they don't allow the town doesn't allow us to have roosters.
Wow.
Go figure. I don't have neighbors 2 kilometers each side.
A lot of people growing up, I used to watch the westerns, and the sun would come up and be peeking up, and you'd hear the rooster.
I
Then you
want
never
that.
hear the rooster.
Oh.
Roosters crow all day long.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And sometimes they start 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes they start at 3 o'clock in the morning. It can be quite noisy.
Okay.
But then we have guinea hens. Well, we have one guinea rooster left.
Guinea rooster. What's that?
It's a guinea fowl. They really look weird. They got the white paint. It looks like somebody painted their face white, and then they've got these red lobes, and they're really cool little birds. The problem with them is they're very territorial, and they make a lot of. They'll get right under the window and start cackling, and
That's
you can't.
beautiful.
Yeah, they are. They're beautiful, and our guineas, our guineas have protected us from hawks. I know one got hit by a hawk. We had three guineas, and one got hit by a hawk because I got home and there were guinea feathers in a circle, and it was just like, oh my gosh. But the guineas were all okay. Didn't notice a scratch on them, and then they chased away a coyote. They've chased away deer. They've chased away turkeys. Yep.
Do they gang up on them?
Yeah. They just
Crazy.
go chasing. One, I thought the coyote I thought was a fawn. And then when they went and they jump up and they'd show their claws and they'd flap their wings, all three of them together. And when it turned sideways, I saw the tail. I'm like, that's a coyote. Grab the gun, But loudest bird on, yes, they are noisy.
Which one? The guinea?
The guineas.
The guinea rooster?
Yeah.
I know Wren's got a lot of birds. Wrens, they do have a lot of birds of all sorts.
Yeah. Now, is that a chicken rooster or a guinea rooster that you're talking about, Ren? That's got to be a guinea attacking vehicles and stuff. They're genetically built to chase off elephants.
Is he serious?
I believe. I do know that they are not scared of anything. They're not scared of cars or anything.
So you're saying that we don't need to buy a cat, we just need to buy a guinea rooster?
Yeah, they will take care of any ticks. I would get 2 or 3 of them if you really want them to be effective, because now that I'm down to one died. I'm not sure what it died from. Then the 2 that were left were chasing the roosters and really starting to hurt the roosters. So I'd take the 22 and I'd shoot in front of them as they ran, and they would turn and leave the rooster alone. Well, one day they weren't turning, and so I aimed a little bit back and shot one of them. So I'm down to one. Because they
Is
were
it
really
good?
messing up the rooster.
That's crazy. I didn't know they were so protective, or any birds for that matter. I thought they were just, caring to themselves. But it seems like roosters are bad in itself.
They can be. I've had to kill two roosters because with me they're good. I killed one because it chased Wendy. It attacked. It put a pretty big hole with its spur in the back of her leg because they attack you from behind. And then one one of my grandkids were here, and I saw one of the girls running around the house, and the rooster was chasing it. And I said, I won't have a rooster that's gonna. With me, it was fine,
If they
but
pluck,
now,
it must be harsh. Like
well, the pecking isn't so bad, but roosters, when they get 2 or 3 years old, they'll get a spur that is
on
like
the
a
back.
hypodermic needle. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
yeah,
be
yeah,
right
yeah.
here. We had one of them, the one that died. I'm not sure what initially attacked it, but the other chickens killed it. When he would walk, his his uh, his spurs would go like this over each other. I mean, if he didn't lift his leg far enough, they would hit and it would trip him. They were long. It was crazy.
That's
Uh,
we're talking about chicken, and Kay's on the couch there looking for Chanticleer, and she's
yeah,
like,
there you
"Yeah, I
go.
might get some, but they're like, like chicks." I'm like, "Well, we might have a rooster after all."
Yeah. Um,
But yeah,
if you buy if you buy chicks and you want chickens, um, then like from McMurray Hatchery and the various hatcheries, if you want hens, you can put hens or females. But if you order straight run, then basically whatever hatches they throw in there, you'll get roosters, you'll get hens, both. Um,
that's good to know. It must work the same way here somehow, because I heard people saying, "Oh, I didn't know what." And then you tried to keep it, and then they get blamed for it, and then, "Oh, I can't kill it."
yeah,
Eat
yeah,
the
eat the
rooster,
rooster. Yeah. Um, Mine
right?
that died, I was gonna eat it, but I'm not sure what initially happened to it. I know that the other chickens, once it was wounded, uh, um, attacked it and killed it. But when I opened the door, he was laying there just looking at me, and he couldn't walk. And I'm still in my temporary chicken coop that I built 4 years ago. They're not really protected in there. I mean, a weasel could get in easy, and
So what do you think happened?
I don't know. I think that him and another rooster got in a fight. Either the guinea or another rooster joined in, and they hurt him. And
Gamed up.
once he was hurt, being inside the coop, I think it's an 8x8 chicken coop. Um, Being in that small enclosed space, he couldn't get away. He got cornered and got hurt.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
don't.
can do a big hierarchy, right? Like I heard that too. Like
Yes, it will seem cruel, but that's where we get our phrase pecking order from.
off grid with lights.
Hey, I got them. Um, I Mine are on a separate system, um, but they work really good. But yeah, the words pecking order it's true. They will.
Okay.
When we get new chicks, when I get new chicks, I have a turkey pen on the side that I raise them in, and then once they have feathers, uh, I put them in that, and then I make them a temporary run with deer netting to keep the other chickens from getting to them.
Yep.
That way, they're getting used to seeing each other. And then one night, when all the chickens are sleeping, I'll go in and I'll put the chicks in the roost right in amongst the other chickens, and they'll wake up and they're like, "Oh, you're supposed to be here."
Okay. Okay. So
And then it
It's like the
lessens the
movie
heat
51st Date, right?
yeah,
It's like, sorry,
it no, that's okay.
it's lagging. So they don't remember much. Is that what you're saying? Like it,
Right. It, there still be a pecking order that they will have to learn, and that can be brutal. But it's just less. You know, they kind of accept them into the flock a little better.
okay.
'Cause no, actually, it's like 80 degrees in here right now, Remy.
Yeah, it's you're off-grid stuff always, but he's talking about cooling and stuff, but air conditioning, you can have air conditioning, but
Mhm.
you cannot really. And
Well,
so,
I have an air conditioner to put in the window. On a sunny day, I can run it just fine regular. But as soon as the clouds show up, I have to start the generator.
it gouges the batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
Um,
seen a few people actually, but they mostly were on 48 volts. Were running. They had bigger batteries and stuff. You know,
yeah.
some real mountain mans.
Real mountain
Yeah,
man. Yeah. Um,
woodsman, I guess.
yeah. You should
Yeah.
have saw, man. I went the other day. I had to do some grocery shopping. So I went foraging and I found an Arby's. And yeah, I foraged up Greek gyros. Oh, it was boy, they're
how did
hard to
the
find.
how did the cook like you in the back there?
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't like it when I walked into the kitchen, but
Yeah, but like my house is a Canadian style house, so big gables like this, and
mhm.
talking about air conditioning, those gable go maybe 4 feet out, and the way the house is built, there's never a sun coming in the house during the day.
Oh wow.
Like during the summer and during the winter is all very low. So I'm like, the guy thought about something. He did think about all this because it's not square with it. Well, we're far away from the road, but it's not square. It's angled, but it's not
Mhm.
angled to the south. So it's just angled differently. And I'm like, okay, like I need to think about everything that man did because he did
Yeah.
something all the way around, and
There
I'm still figuring it out.
there is a way of cooling your house off grid with piping. You run piping out into the woods. Depending on where you're at, you can go like 4 foot down. Um, I think it's depending on the size of the house you're trying to cool, probably 100 feet or so.
Mhm.
Then it comes up in the woods with a screen over the vent, and then you bring it up into the house and up in the top of the room, and then you can actually have a vent with one of those spinners on top of it, like they have on top of barns, that the wind, and that will create a suction, and that will suck the cool
Yeah,
air in and the hot air right up out of the ceiling.
yeah,
I've been
very
wanting to do that for years.
Rams is saying earth chips, very similar to that. Um, I've seen many things also with earth chip. It's basically geothermic stuff. Like it can go down, it can go inside. I've seen greenhouse built that way. So like Thor's Avon Farms, little greenhouse is made like this, right?
Yeah.
And what they did is it's called a ground battery, and it's basically tubing 4 feet down that goes like this on the ground, but
Hmm.
it catches up from like it's like this, right? So it catches up, the sun catches here, and there's like a black wall with tubings that goes down in those tubings, and when it comes out in the vents, it's all warmed up.
Oh,
So
nice.
so basically, if you build something with three side windows, you would be able to get everything during the day and catch it and make sure you pack it up underneath the ground, the earth, uh, during the night. So you don't need water barrels, you don't need anything like that, but just a solid back that keeps the north hidden, and you're good.
Yeah. It's amazing the various properties that you can put to use for yourself. When we built this, we built it for passive solar. In the winter, we have the two big doors out behind us, and then we have a window on every wall except in the pantry. And as the sun goes through, the sun shines in, hits the floor, warms that up. In the summer, when the sun comes out, and once the temperature outside meets the temperature inside, then you shut all the windows, all the curtains, all that stuff, and it holds it in pretty good.
Yeah. Marilyn's saying, by the beach, there's always a fresh breeze.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's harvest that. I bet you could have wind power, like windmills and stuff.
Yeah.
I know here it wouldn't be great, that's for sure. For some reason, there's not much wind, and even then, I don't think the peak would be enough.
Right.
And something I was thinking about during the night and stuff, just to keep things afloat.
Yeah. I wish there was a stream on the property when we first looked at the property, but the guy had, I don't know where he got his bearings from, but he had marked the property all wrong. So the stream didn't come with the property. But if I had running water, I would have they got these little hydro generators that they might make 80 watts an hour or something, and just a little bit of, yeah, that's all you need to keep those batteries going,
Yeah. You need something that gives you more than you consume. That's it. That's where it goes.
Yeah. Oh my God. We've been on here for almost 2.5 hours.
You can talk, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't say nothing. I didn't.
Right. This has been a blast. Now I believe Darren is going to be going live tonight. I'm not sure. Ooh, a stout.
Always. Someone said squash. I think it's Rand that said squash that like button.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. But yeah,
It smells.
I don't know how that worked. It was Remy on his live streams that was supposed to drink. The hardest I hit is the diet tea.
Nice. That's good. I drink a bit, but not much. I got other flaws.
Oh, I've got plenty of flaws. We don't have time for that list.
Oh, no Darren's tonight.
Oh, no Darren tonight. Okay.
Slacker.
Well,
I do enjoy everything they do. It's fun. It's entertaining. I don't always have the time to watch though. That's and all those live, it's fun when it's live, but I don't know if it's fun when it's not live,
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting to watch everybody and to see the comments and to hear the stuff talking, but then like somebody will say something and you're like, oh, I want to respond to that, and I can't,
Yeah, you go on a tangent, like it's yeah. Sometimes it's just too much chat. It's like, oh, let's talk about our stuff instead of talking about the chat,
Yeah.
But people in the chat are entertaining as well,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've got some of the best people in this community, and I am so thankful Remy brought me into this community, because it's just cool the way things worked out.
Yeah, no, definitely he's the one who got me in, or kept me going, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I was in as per watching everything that was going on, but participating and watching is two things, right? And one thing I said, I think, to Darren when I met them is, I feel that I want to do all this, videos and all that to tell people that it's possible, and learning is this and that, but it's not in me yet. Like, it's so Remy keeps press the button, keeps saying press the button,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, okay, like, he's interested, so if I do it for him, that's good enough. Like, things I post on my walls are for my mom, so she can see what I do, because she can't travel no more.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much it. And then my friends like it, and then all of a sudden I'm talking to you here. It's like,
Yeah. It's
and then
it's
what's I'm just reading. It's fun.
well,
It's like, I don't know what it is that makes us doing this, because I don't know. I got friends, but they're not into this,
yeah. My brother, uh he's not into prepping or canning or anything, which he has a slightly larger fan. Well, now it's him, his wife, he's got a daughter in college, and a boy at home. um Bunch of squash.
Oh, oh,
That's right. Oh, gotta find my but he doesn't really put much aside. And I tried to explain to him, listen, yeah, you can live off the land. Can you feed your whole family off the land? And once you get 8,000 other rednecks from the area hunting in your favorite spot, are you going to be able to drop a deer?
there's a difference between the end of the world ish and thriving at what we're doing right now, because I don't think
Right.
we could do it as well, I guess, because we're relying on stuff to be made, like,
Yeah.
to go off grid like 300 years ago, it means leave everything behind, like,
Yeah.
and even comfort of walls, white walls, like, it's, yeah. I think I would like that, but I don't know how old I would live,
Yeah. I watch the show Alone a lot. And number one, what is it? Vancouver Island or whatever that they did the first couple on.
Yep.
There's a reason nobody lives there. That place is is amazing. It's
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. The resources are there, but oh my gosh.
I got friends who live there, actually, in place, what's called, the name, like, it's very north there, and we sent t-shirt, for the work, we made t-shirt and stuff, so we sent her a t-shirt, and it cost $90 to send a t-shirt to where she
Wow.
lives. And she takes ferries, to go everywhere, and she owns a tattoo shop over there. Craziness of all things, necessity, 100%, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what she does. She does it there, and yes, Alone is a crazy show. I would love to be on there, but I think I need to gain a few pounds.
Did you guys see my? No, I haven't seen your
Gain,
shirt
yes,
yet.
because when you go there, you're gonna lose them all.
But yeah, but I don't know how long I could do it. I'd like to think I could do it for as long as it takes, but there are guys who are there who are saying, "Oh yeah, I'm planning on being here a year," and next thing you know, it's, well, I miss my wife or I miss my girlfriend. It's the psychological of being alone, which I would have a head start on them because Wendy and I were kind of solitary before. But now, I, other than YouTube, and I call my daughter. I'm supposed to call my daughter once a week. I don't always, and I visit my mom once in a while. But other than that, I'm here alone all day.
Yeah.
And hopefully, there's a young couple putting just down the road, across the road. They're putting in a house, and
Off grid or full gear?
I think
hydro stuff?
they've got an electric pole coming to them. But they yeah, he's the guy who told me, he says, "Oh yeah, everybody calls you the off-gridder or that off-grid guy."
The newcomer calls you that way. That's crazy.
Yeah. But so God only knows what they're going to hear, because sometimes I'll just start wailing out singing with the radio, and then I'll realize, hey, I got my headphones in, so nobody else can hear the music. They're just hearing my voice.
Beauty. That's beauty.
And I've always told people, listen, you can come up, but around 10 o'clock I do the chores, and in the summer a lot of times I do the chores in my BVDs, my underoos, and
In your Borat suit,
yeah, there you go.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. Like we laugh about going around naked and stuff, but you never fucking know. Sorry,
Yeah,
you
no,
never
that's
know who's around the corner, really. Even though you're here by yourself, like
yeah,
it's one of those things that it bugs me to not being far enough, but then like how far can you or you want to be, like
yeah,
it's like you could be far north here in Quebec, like where there's nobody, but then what, like yeah, I would miss you if I go on alone for 69 days. That's true. It's very psychologic when you go there, and I
yeah,
think like foraging, I would be fair. Like I'm thinking I could shoot something, but I don't know if I could piece it out.
right,
Like I don't have any experience, so right there I would fail. I think.
yeah.
Um,
It's I could eat just about anything. Oh, Remy sent me pics. Okay, did you send it to my email or the um messenger?
just
Oh,
like
sorry.
oh, sorry, just last week somebody pulled up while one of us was shirtless. I think that was Jack.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be the first time the FedEx guy caught me running in the house, because you hear vehicles all day long going down the road. It's not a lot of traffic, but um okay, the ding, okay. But you hear vehicles all day long, but then you got to pay attention, because if they slow down and turn in the driveway, if they slow down out there, they're either up to no good or
Amazon delivery.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Let's
crazy. It's weird when you live a bit secluded when people come in. It's like your ears going like this, like what's going on here?
yeah. Let's see.
Were those your squash pick Rams? The squash T-shirt. I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking for him. My computer's running real slow. Here, I'm gonna shut off. I don't need to monitor that. That's all working good. So that should free up some Remy or
Amazon
see.
story deliveries. Yes. It's crazy. Like one thing about Amazon that pisses me off is when you order 5 things and they arrive 5 different parcels or 5 different delivery.
Yeah. Yeah. Redbubble's the same way. Let's see. Share screen.
There are no squash. There are gourds. At least they're not pumpkins.
Okay.
Oh, Inceptions.
Yeah. Just squash it.
There you go. They look good.
In
They're the
squash
higher
we
though.
trust. Yeah.
Put them higher. That's awesome.
Yeah. Just raise them up just a little bit. But yeah, that's awesome. In squash we trust. Oh, where'd that come from? Let's see here. Inception.
So you have a book, eh? Of Grid, the Of Grid book.
I've got a bunch of books, actually, low and no content. books. I've got off grid garden journal, prayer journal, uh, regular journal that, just to keep like a diary. And then I've got all sorts of planners, and I got a garden planner that actually has the grid paper.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so you can plan out your garden and keep track of the seeds and stuff. I've got a hunter's journal that's all nice. I think I've got over 35 books so far. I've got uh, two kids' books. I wrote one,
Didn't see those.
Mima's Going to Heaven, and then I wrote Colin Goes Camping for my grandson. And I plan on writing more. I've got a novel that I need to I need to keep working on. It's kind of about the United States, that if we keep going down this path where they're just destroying the Constitution, we kind of become a authoritative dictatorship, kind of. And
Could easily be.
yeah, and it's about the what the people around Lewis County, they kind of set up a network of illegal farms, because the only safe food is the food the government you buy from the government type deal. And
The good food.
yeah, and then it things happen, and it finally hits the last straw of the guys, and they start to revolt. Starts out with hidden deer rifles and stuff, and then as they confront the powers that be in guerrilla style tactics, they gain other weapons and stuff. And I just have to keep going. I haven't written on it since Wendy died. I need to get going with it, because I've got like 150 pages written, and I'm only planning on going to like 220. So I
You have
need
to
to,
make the end fast. The
yeah,
crumble of USA. Well, that's good. Please do. Like I see a gaming. I see a game with that.
yeah,
Because
um,
it is I would love to see a simulation like that, because I don't think anybody could survive. You know, like
yeah,
or I think people could survive, but it would be at a detriment to others. Um,
yeah,
like the end. Like after the first wave of people killing each other, there will
yeah.
be still stuff left. Amazingly amount of stuff left after people kill each other, and
Oh,
I just wonder how far that will go. Like
well,
there's a
yeah.
bunch of films, but who knows?
With like with The Walking Dead, that show, what used to drive me nuts. Okay, you're in Georgia, or down south of the United States, is the camping capital of the world down south. And they're driving that RV that they can
It's
barely
wild.
keep on the road. Why don't they go and grab one of these $200,000 RVs and and actually have some style and some room?
Maybe they want to be hippies like us.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my biggest thing is um people turning on people. It's with the prices rising and the inflation and the gas and stuff, people are going to start stealing. They were stealing before.
Yeah.
um just a couple miles away from here, somebody had the guts to back into a guy's driveway, hook up a snowmobile trailer, and drive away.
I heard the same thing, and well, same different thing, but friend of my daughter parents, they had one of a kind skidoo, like Bombardier skidoo, like crazy ones, and they were at the restaurant on the trail. They stopped at a restaurant, and that pickup truck just hooked it up, left, And then a few kilometers or miles later, they put it in the truck and tried to go away. They found it 3 hours later somewhere. It was one of a kind, so it was simply easy to figure where it was, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just like that, and people still catalyzer from cars, like the exhaust system, that anti-pollution thing,
Yeah.
you just go there
Um,
with a sizzle, they take it.
I was watching Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. They just got solar power a while back. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're out west. But they had on there this any diesel tractor or vehicle made after 2010 that has over, I want to say 30 horsepower, has to have a DEF system in it. DEF apparently requires you to have there's a tank on there that you fill with some fuel and or with the DEF juice or whatever,
Yeah.
and if it runs low or out, it shuts the engine down. Well, they had testifying before Congress. They had clips of a guy, the largest producer in the United States, and he said the railroads made them cut their shipments down by almost, I think it was 50%.
Damn.
Not, yeah, the railroad saying, listen, we don't want you to send so much. Okay. Now that's going to affect, and the guy said, this is going to affect truckers. This is going to affect prices of food and everything that's transported by truck. What I'm thinking is that the railroads are trying to put the truckers out of business so that they can make more money. I don't know.
I don't know, but those things don't surprise me, to be honest with you.
No.
Everything they can do to bypass something, I'm talking about government, anything, any kind of entity that has the power on something. For some reason, they always try to do something to counter the others and stuff like that. It's painful, really.
Yeah.
But like what I'm worried about all these things is I won't be able to get my batteries. I won't be able to get my solar panel if I need it.
Yeah.
So that's another level of preparedness if we talk about that. But that's doom stuff.
Well, yeah, and if that stuff starts happening, I have seen several different solar farms, where they put the solar panels and stuff. But see, the thing is you got to get without rule of law first. You can't do that. Like right now, I would love to have another set of solar panels, but my life doesn't depend on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. Once again, it's the consumption. And I think it's the basic of off-grid stuff is the consumption versus the need. Like shut down your light. Like simple
Yeah.
as that. But once again, it's not what takes a lot of energy. I could, that light there, I could leave it there for days and days, even during winter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the shower, I got 2 kids. The shower, 4 shower a day. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole homesteading off gridder mantra is 2 is 1, 1 is none. Have a backup for your backup for your backup. I've got,
it goes with veggies. It goes with everything.
yeah, I've got kerosene lanterns stored here. I need to check my kerosene. It's probably 2 years old now. I don't know. It probably worked for a lamp. But then I did a study on how to make my own, and you can take fish guts, throw them in a pan and boil them. Just let them keep boiling, filter them, do it again, filter them, do it again, and it will make fuel that will burn in a kerosene lamp.
I love that. I've seen stuff with natural gas. So, you could buy the enzyme in order to make the gas itself. So you could buy a big, one of those truck tubes, tire tubes. You put everything in there. There's a valve here. There's a valve there. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff, and you couldn't actually make natural gas. So I'm thinking, like, oh, hey, but then you could even purchase one of those things to make natural gas, but then in the winter it doesn't work. So where do you put it? Like in order to have gas during the winter, so it's warm. So I'm thinking about the bunker stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, maybe if that goes up, everything will go boom. You know,
Yeah.
so you have to think about it, but it's doable. You could do it, but how much stuff do we throw away, like as food? Like leftovers and stuff. It wouldn't be enough to run anything.
Yeah.
Like I would need to go to everybody, do the run, and make my restaurant run, and take all the garbage, and then I could use that for my chicken. I could use that for my bunnies.
Yeah.
Then you don't have anything to burn. It's like, okay, you need a lot of stuff to make fuel.
I think one of the best things I see, there's a guy, he had to live, I think it was in mid California somewhere. He had an outhouse, and then on the side of the outhouse, he had this big bladder. Um, it was like you said with the inner tube, except this was huge. This was like 5 foot wide and 20 feet long. And when he used the outhouse, him and his wife, and I think he had a kid, the methane from there would go into this bladder. It would expand this bladder, and then he had a pipe coming off the end of it that went into his house, and he cooked off the methane
Yeah.
from that.
I get. Is methane natural gas?
It's a
Like,
form of it. It's a
okay.
flammable gas, but it comes from excrement, from poop. Uh,
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, Rams. Oh, I get you.
yeah, he'd never been this happy to home. Yeah, it's awesome. To that that stress that people have got to be feeling. And I
I
do have
wonder.
it in a way, but I've got a confidence, you know.
I wonder if I have that, because like I'm okay, but I know if anything goes wrong, and I don't think it will go wrong as much as we will need all the world to be different. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
government won't go away, stuff
No.
like that. But it's more like prices to me, and I said that at the beginning. But it's always about that, because I don't know when, and Ram says that a lot too. Is I don't know when my job's gonna go. I don't know when this gonna do this and that. So might as well prep, and like, so I feel better about it. So therefore I'm happy. Like
Yeah.
what Ram was saying is I've never been happier financially and everything. But really, that's what it is. Like it doesn't cost. It does cost something to live. So therefore, why not trying to make it cheap as per
Yeah.
free? Like and by all means, I got a house, like a regular house, and it's solar, but still a step forward towards something that I don't need to use if I don't have to. You know,
Right.
they're talking about here in Quebec. I don't know about the rest of Canada, but they want by 35, I think, 2035, they won't be people won't be able to sell regular cars. It's only going to be electric cars. So I'm like, oh my god, what kind of stress that's going to put on the network? Oh yeah, but it's clean. Yes, you remove like thousands of vectors because you wanted to build those dams, and this and that. Sure, it's clean to use, very clean, more than propane, more than gas, and stuff like that. But to what extent all
Yeah.
this gonna go wrong? Like
It's just not feasible. It's like President Obama went to Alaska. He actually, was it the Klondike that he went? Anyway, he went to Alaska and did a big speech on solar energy. Isn't it dark 6 months out of the year in Alaska? Solar energy is not the way to go in Alaska, I don't believe. I mean, it might
Yeah,
work. It might
but
be a nice buffer,
a lot of
but
people go. I don't know if it's called the same in the States, but it call it something like net zero. So basically, you are not off grid, but you use solar panels to sell back to the grid and
yeah,
whatnot. But that option is good when you want to do that, but there's no battery involved,
right,
so you're not self-reliant as for that. And when you try to do that, they're like, no, 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 you cannot. So I'm
right.
like, okay,
And with with the bonuses or the incentives that New York State gives with that, to do that, it's still, you're talking a $35,000 investment.
mhm, mhm.
Um,
Easy, because you have to go by the rules.
yeah,
We, here we were able, me and my father-in-law, to do all the upgrades. He's very mechanical, and like I had a bit of the know-how and stuff, and I became mechanical, and so we were able to do that. But really, when you do a fresh installation with the hydro or with the power company, you have to follow the rules. And like
yeah,
you said, 35 grand is maybe the entry point.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
because you
and
need to be on the 48 watt, uh, sorry, 48 what, yeah, volts,
yeah,
all the way, right? So therefore, more panels. I have 11 panels on 24 volt. If I go to 48, add multiply by 2, so I would need 22 panel to have the same exact power on 48 volts battery.
right. But that isn't it. The higher volt you go, there's a benefit for going a higher volt system. You don't use as many amps, maybe.
Yeah, usually the amperage is higher. Therefore, if you have, like right now, I have about 10 kilowatts of batteries, 12, I think, right? And
Hmm.
so, but they're lead acid, so you can think about 80%, right? So let's say we go with 10. Right there, I got 8, amp hours, 8,000 amp hours. So if you go with a 48, you will need to add twice as much batteries to have the same amount of power, but the power will be cleaner and more powerful.
Right.
If you think about that, but it costs you twice as much on everything. Twice as
Yeah.
much panels, twice as much charge controller. Only one inverter, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's to me I can't justify the spending towards a 48 volt. 24 is just the batteries is still fairly affordable. 12
Yeah.
volt is really good. When you think about it. But you'll need twice as more to get a 24 volts.
Right.
So it's always the matter of amperage when you need it. But
Yeah.
it's easy, like you said, with the kilowatt, grow what, what's it called, kilowatt, uh, little engine. Or by reading the label, you can tell how much you
Hmm.
would need, and it's an easy calculation. But still, you need to do it, and it's not the same. You don't run your toaster for 24 hours.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. In some countries, you have to have a permit for solar or wind turbine. Now, I have a saying,
It's
um,
crazy.
that free men don't ask permission. And I said that to my brother one day, and he said, "Nope, but free men can pay some very hefty fines."
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. You need to go by the rule, even though you want to be off grid.
Yeah.
Um, there's no way around that. We live in a civilization that it's that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We, even with a representative form of government, both the United States and Canada have the representative form of government. We actually elected the people that, for whatever reasons, put these things in place. Now, what I have a problem with is like a lot of our building codes are made by unelected officials. You elect some officials, and then the officials say, okay, this guy is going to be the building inspector or in charge of housing, and he is going to make these regulations. They're not laws, they're but they're regular, and then they can come down on you with the full weight of the government, and you do not want that. It's they can destroy you.
Yeah, building codes mostly for taxes. Yeah, it's like the permit you buy to upgrade your stuff. Oh yeah, we're gonna go back in 3 months and reassess your place.
Yeah. Yeah, the building permits used to be, when they came out with them in the States, it was to so that if you hired a contractor, the contractor had to toe the line. And then it said it went to, okay, if the contractor is building or is working on an existing structure, that contractor will be able to work on it. He'll be able to understand what was done because it's all done up to standard. Then they said, okay, even if it's you building on your house, you have to abide by these codes, because if you sell the house, the next person needs to be safe.
Yeah.
And but they were never, it was kind of like with the Constitution. There was a ban in the Constitution against taxing wages.
Yeah. Taxes. That's where we were saying that earlier.
Yeah.
But that's it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad when you go off grid. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm going to be free. Like you are going to be free, but you have to be free in your mind. And I think you can be free anywhere.
Right.
Like you don't have to be on a homestead. You were saying grow something earlier. Wherever you are, you can be part of a community that does something. There's a bunch of stuff, but like I think it's sometimes a bit selfish, to be alone in a big space. And a lot of friends, oh, I would do a community here, yurt here, and this and there. So, yeah, but I wouldn't be alone.
Yeah.
Like as much as I like the people, sometimes at my place I want to be alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, being part of a community is something that we choose, I guess. But being part of a country, I guess we could choose. But try to move to Canada or me trying to move in the States, it would be different, but it would be the same, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe worse in the States, but
Yeah. My
Just
friend
kidding.
has 28 acres in Oregon. They can have a stock tank full for livestock.
Stock tank full.
Oh, for rainwater. Okay.
Okay.
Because some states in the United States you cannot collect rainwater.
That's true. I heard that.
It's insane. Who owns the rainwater? The government doesn't. We're getting back into the king's deer situation. Who owns the deer?
But we spoke about this earlier too. It's maybe the water that goes in the ground, and stuff like that. But like I sometimes we don't know about the whole thing that they're doing. Sometimes it might be great, and by they I mean the governments and stuff. But it's when they do stuff that underneath us, or stuff like that, that it's sad. Like I mean, they're there for the greater good, but they're not great sometimes. They're evil people.
Right. And they, for the most part, the people making the laws and regulations, they're living in a situation where they're not ever going to need to catch rainwater, or they don't see that they'll ever need to catch rainwater. They're never going to be faced with living off grid because that's just not what they want. They're in the city. They've got everything, all these options, and it's just sometimes I just want to shake them and say, listen, you don't need this, but we do. Um, things you affect that DEF juice for the diesel engines. That's going to hurt a lot of people if they make them cut back on shipping that stuff.
Yeah. At the same time, you could keep your diesel for so long.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like, okay, now you're gonna have to, your diesel is gonna have to go bad. So
Yeah.
like, what's the point of that? Like, that's same with the gun registration. We're talking about earlier. Is you're gonna do that for the people who don't need it.
Yeah.
Like, it's always that, and that's I just hope that nobody's gonna go and attack the off-grid solar people.
Right.
I don't believe there's much of their off-grid when you think about it as per power. Like hydro is one of them. But if you're lucky enough, but usually you cannot fiddle with streams and stuff like that over here. So you wouldn't
Right.
be able to put a turbine or anything there.
We have we have certain streams that are designated trout streams. You have to be very careful. You can't put anything in, and if something is in, you can't take it out.
Okay.
A friend of mine, we had a stream. It's funny because all the septics on the road at one time ran into this stream. It was a sick proposition, but when you hit a certain road, it became a trout stream, and he lived right on the trout stream side of the road, and there were washing machines and old tires and stuff like that in the stream. DEC rode by one day and saw him in the stream trying to take them out, and they made him stop.
Okay. Why?
Something about territory. It
Okay.
had been there in that stream, so the fish were using his habitat. My brother was telling me, okay, when you're logging, you have to build bridges over streams for the skidders and the trucks. Makes sense. The reason they say is because you'll muddy up the stream, and then the fish won't be able to survive. Go to any salmon river in the spring that turns chocolate milk brown. Fish seem to be doing just fine.
Yeah. That's that reminds me. A year ago here in the townships, they wanted to change zoning. It didn't affect us much, but they were going very harsh with a 60 meter, I don't know how many feet that is, restricted zone around water holes. So that would mean that 3/4 of the people of the town that purchased the land wouldn't be able to build on it. So they basically wanted to cut everything off and say, no, you cannot, instead of, hey, let's build some structure on, not sticks, but, posts, or trying to build something that wouldn't damage anything.
Yeah.
Think of grid, think stuff like that. But no, they still think that your house needs to be that size and do this. So we're far from everything.
Everybody thinks that we need to fight Mother Nature. Mother Nature, she's too big of a woman for me to try to take on, which I don't believe in Mother Nature. I'm a Christian, but by the same token, nature is too powerful. You need to, especially if you're off grid, if you're homesteading, you need to try to work with it. That's why we're learning about the whole food forest thing. I don't need to till my garden every year, and that can actually, if I do it right, which God, I hope I am, is going to be beneficial to me and to the ecosystem in my soil.
Yeah. You pinpointed something very, very important here. Is, we talked about the consumption versus the solar needs, and stuff like that. Same with your place, same with your garden, same with everything. Like, I don't know what it's called in English, but the rotation they do every year because the crop would fail.
Crop rotation, yeah.
Um, why do they do that every year? Like, don't wait. Change your stuff. Change with other, like, current method of mushroom growing stuff. Like, with enzymes and all that. There's so many things available, and the worldwide thing that we get the food from. Why don't we learn about how can we do ourselves all that? Um, International market is beautiful, but it's utopic. I love my bananas. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong, but I wouldn't be able to get a banana here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and I wouldn't stop eating my banana today. But what can
Mm,
I do in order to get everything else that I can?
right.
And
And the thing is every area has things that will help you be self-sufficient in that area. I think of is it okay to say Eskimos? The northern indigenous peoples way up. Okay,
First Nation.
the First Nations people. They lived in where it's cold and ice almost all year. Well, what do they have for that? They can't really grow gardens, but look at this. God gave them seals and stuff that have the fat, and they came up with ways to dip their food in that fat to help them process the protein.
Mhm.
Um
Amazing
and
people.
what's that?
Amazing people.
Yes, absolutely. I love that on oh Life Below Zero, the family that actually they're still kind of nomadic. They have a house, but then they go from place to place to do the different things.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Very much. Yeah.
yeah,
Foraging is one very good thing. Kay in the back there, she's really good at it. I'm more like a hands-on kind of guy, but when she does, it's so amazing. Like, oh, look at this, look at that. Okay, it's all processing, right? And I'm like, okay, this is it. This is like, I knew all this before. I've been raised in those kind of thing, but once you get to be an adult, you want to be like anybody else. Like, you don't think about going off grid, but then it catches up to you because, well, it was there before, so it catches up with you. I think,
mhm.
so people always ask, oh, did you think about becoming a gritter, and stuff? Not really, but yes, at the same time, because that's where I was happy when I was very young, like
Yeah,
in the bush building a shelter somehow.
yeah.
And, but, like, that's not how you live, right? You need to get a house, you need to get all these things,
Oh yeah, got to rack
and,
up that
yeah,
debt and Wendy and I were
yeah.
happiest when we were camping,
Mhm.
and we just moved to we're kind of camping. We're just really comfortable.
I
Um,
stopped camping since I moved here.
yeah, yeah.
I wake up with the birds every day, so I'm like, I don't need the birds in my tent. Like, it's tent is not comfortable. When you think about it, and older I get, but I build a little teepee in the woods. I look forward to go and sleep in there. Stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I don't need to go anywhere. Like, it's fun to discover. I've done my share and been, to Western Canada and the mountains and stuff. But when you're at home and you build your stuff, there's something that makes you feel good.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
everywhere, everybody in the chat here, from the Homestead, from Rans to Ramey's, who like was doing that in his place. That tells you don't need much. You just need to do it. You know,
Yeah,
and Off Grid is one of those things that is the same, exactly the same. Is, to me, it fell on my lap, but it fell on my lap for a reason. Like
Yeah.
we were looking for a place and then this happened. And my ex is living 5 minutes away. The kid's taking the same bus. I don't see her, she doesn't see us. So I'm like, this is like great. Like how come we were looking for something else and this happened? I
Yeah.
stopped asking any questions. You were talking about spirituality, very spiritual, not much religion stuff, but very, very spiritual. And when things like that happen, you cannot pass aside that it's
Right.
good for you. Like it's just one of those things that fair enough, I'll accept it, take it, and bloom.
Yeah.
It's easy as that.
Yeah. Wendy and I, when we bought this property, we kept saying, God, we want to make sure this is what you want. We want to see you move in this. We want to see you make sure that you're involved in this. And we went to the real estate agent that sold the guy we bought the land from. He sold it to that guy. And he said, "Can I ask you how much you paid for it?" I said, "Yeah, 22.5." And he says, "He bought it from me for 25 and I just offered him 25 uh, a couple months ago and he wouldn't take it."
The man, he sold it to the man.
Yeah.
I love
But
that. That's a good omen. Very
yeah,
good.
absolutely.
In the law properties. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I was building Legos when I was younger. What about you?
Yeah. Legos, we had dirt piles that we make
Little
roads in
cars.
for our cars
Yeah.
and
It's I'm living off grid with kids. Like it's something we haven't talked about, but they're not down with it all the time.
Mhm.
It's because it's limited. Like and my son is 14, therefore the gaming is important. You know, and
Mhm.
so when he comes here, he doesn't game or he game a bit on his cell phone and this. Um, but then I'm like, okay, I'm the bad parent, but I feel so good about doing this. Like he's building the coop with me, like, and he's asking me yesterday. I was like, oh, I don't feel it, Well, like you told me we were going to. I said, you're getting old, right? So, like I'm so glad he said that. Like that moment, that moment was a good moment. But then he goes back to his mom, and he's gaming quite a bit, and before it was like he was going into detox every time he was coming here,
Yeah.
and now it's not that. So I'm glad, but it's fun to see that they're gaining interest. Like I don't know how much interest. Maybe the living off grid is not for him, or
Yeah.
maybe he's going to build a house right here. Who
Yeah.
knows? But the energy it takes, the food, that we want to grow for everybody. The taste they have, they don't like this, they like that. It's crazy, but it's all about how much you spend versus how much you gain, and to me that's very important.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, yeah, because like I said, I hated doing anything in the garden when I was a kid, and now I can just see my dad up there laughing every time I'm in my garden trying to make something work. Trevor told me, he says, "Yeah, back to Eden." He says, "It might be all right." He says, "But call me when you're when your garden's as good as Pa's worst one was."
It's funny. I remember when I was young, like making gardens and stuff, but I had to remember since I moved here because it seems like I didn't remember. And
Mhm.
with Facebook and all that, I hooked up with friends that I had when I was younger, and my parents were friends with. And I remember my parents having a big, huge thing full of dirt with potatoes. They were asking me to go there, and pick them up and down in the cellar. So I'm like, okay, it's anchored in my head. It's just then we moved. My parents divorced, and then life kicked in real life, high
Yeah.
school and all that. So I'm like, it's there somewhere. It was always there. So I think that's why I like it so much today, and it came back to me. But I can only think about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this.
Please do.
This has been awesome, man. This has
Thank
been
you.
great.
Thank you. It's like talking to a cousin.
Yeah,
It's fun.
absolutely.
And I don't like my cousins, but I like you better.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Just kidding.
We are all family. I'm waiting
Yeah.
for Remy to one day say something that gets under my skin, but he hasn't yet. So
Well, he's called Ram's Family Farm, so it's our farms too.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you
No.
go.
Thank
Get
you,
ready. We're
Tian.
moving in, Rem.
Hey, come to Canada. It's better over here.
Yeah. Pretty soon it's going to be freer than it is here. I guarantee you.
Maybe. I wonder. I think we're gonna have less rights, but more freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think we're gonna go and I don't know if there's a thing called like in the Western Canada, it's called Cascadia. I don't know if you heard about that before. It's all
No.
the province and states from the Western, Southwest, Northwest Pacific and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They all talk about being independent and stuff, but it's not us, right? It's them.
Yeah.
But yeah, would be nice. Hey, what's up, buddy? Hold on, I'll show you.
Oh, there you go.
That's for you, Rans. I know you like dogs. There you go. Right, great. There you go.
Oh, Rem, you're just about the realest guy I've ever seen online. You are who you are, and you don't change, and I like that.
There's two Rams? I don't think so.
No, he's laid back. He's nice.
Yeah.
And the only thing is he might swear once in a while, off camera.
Yeah, it's funny how we swear and we don't mean it. It's so
Right.
anchored in our life that and in English it's good because it's all like about sex stuff, but in French it's all about church stuff, so you wouldn't like that much. But yeah, it's to me it's one of those things, when you do mantras and all those things, it gets you something somewhere somehow, so you have to be careful with words.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
All
right.
right. Well, guys, check out Patrick Coste. He's got his channel, and you've got a lot of subscribers.
Yeah, I don't deserve them. As per it came with a job. I'm very public with the job and stuff, and people subscribe with Instagram, Facebook, and stuff, and YouTube came with it. And at one point, I have a friend, and I'll shout out to him. His name is Sean James, not the bushcrafter, but the musician.
Mm-hmm.
And he let me put one of his videos on, and million views later, I got 2,000 subscribers.
Nice.
But it's real, but it's not mine yet.
Well, you're getting there. You're getting there.
And as what Ren would say is post a video.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, guys,
Yeah.
everybody have a good night and good week. And remember, Remy goes live tomorrow night. I'm starting to get the schedules down. I miss one here and there, but I'm starting to get them down. But y'all have a great day and God bless. Thanks a lot, Pat.
Thank you, Tian.